see now where's like, what's going on? Why is it not sending? What is going on here? Now it's saying no video. Oh, you know why? No, that's not right. What is going on here?
There's only two ways we start a stream. We say, "Oh, there we are."
There we are.
Or we say this. What is going on?
What is going on? I don't understand why it's doing this. If I go like this, is it gonna be right? That's right. But did I change something that was supposed to be this one? Maybe that's what I did. Is I accidentally changed it on the 16:9 frame instead of the 4:3.
Oh, there it is.
There, now it's right. But it's just funny that like now it's just showing. Oh, because I'm sending video. Okay, let me just.
Well,
listen, I haven't streamed in myself in a while, so.
If we're, okay. I was gonna say if we're stuck playing on the widescreen view, then we're the only game we're allowed to play is that Virtual Fighter game that Joe won't shut up about. That has the widescreen mode in it.
The widescreen mode. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
That Joe keeps mentioning in like a million videos. At least two.
There. Oh,
He's
now
a
I'm
big fan of
huge.
widescreen.
Look at how big I am. I was so big right there. All right, let me just fix this. I was so gigantic there.
So big.
So big.
As in just a normal camera shot.
Doing it big tonight. All right. Well, I set this up. As everyone knows from the stream title, is that we are finally at last, after quite a few attempts of trying to make this happen, we are joined by Nick from PandaMonium, reviews every Sega Saturn game.
Thank you. Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you both for inviting me on. And yeah, like you said, it's been something we've been trying to make happen for a while, but adult life scheduling is fun, so it finally worked out. Happy to be here. Thanks a ton for inviting me. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is a man who has Craig Statler on. I counted 3 times on his thumbnails. At least.
At least 3 times.
That number will probably increase over the years, I'm sure.
I mean, there's actually, I mean, Craig Statler aside, there's just there are a number of amusing golf thumbnails on your channel.
There really are. Oh yeah.
Okay, let's try up here.
Never have enough Craig though. He is the man.
Have you ever? I just thought it was the funniest thing. Have you ever seen the one video that is Craig Statler clips from the game, auto-tune to
I think that was the
Rickroll song.
To what song? The Rickroll song?
The Rickroll song.
Yeah. Rick Astley smash hit. Someone else made that video, and yeah, I did see it. We actually exchanged files. He managed to. Yes, this guy found out how to.
Making it happen is what you're telling me.
Well, he made it happen for me, and more so, I think, because I had a bunch of up to that point, all of my Craig clips were direct capture, and I chroma keyed out the grass behind Craig from the game. And homeboy here found out how to get all of the Craig Statler clips from the game's files directly, and then converted them all. And you can see the green screen behind Craig that TND Soft must have used when filming his clips, that they, I guess, key out in the game code somehow.
Oh, and, so that makes it even easier to do on your own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, I was like, "Hey, I see you were able to do this. How'd you get all the files?" And he was like, "Here you go."
Just wow. I had no idea
gave me a link, and boom.
By bringing that up, I was about to uncover some incredible origin story here.
There you go. There's your meme lore for the day. Hang on. I'm going to look up his username here real quick just to give him the proper shout out. Jeff Lindblom. That's right. I couldn't remember it offhand. Jeff Lindblom. Thank you for the Craig files. If you're watching. Yeah, he was the man for that. I still have all the Craig clips here. So, yep.
Henry Clark wants to know what controller you're using.
I'm using a Japanese Saturn pad, but it has the 8-bit DO wireless Bluetooth pad inside that I'm using with a Blue Retro adapter with
nice.
What's this with Humble Bazooka's Blue Retro adapter for ultra low lag.
Awesome.
Before the stream started, there was a $2 super chat from Patrick Morelli. Thank you. Saying my body is ready. Just gotta hit the bathroom. And since that was before the stream,
Hopefully,
I do hope you made it back.
Wasn't waiting for our us to tell them it's okay.
I used to be like really bad at that as a kid. Like I assume most kids go through like a phase where you always ask like, can I go to the bathroom? Like when you're really little. I don't know, is that normal? Do kids ask that when? Because I certainly like not just in school, but like at home too. And like I don't know where I got it in my head that I should ask if I could go to the bathroom.
Do you just like announce it to yourself then when you're like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom? Can I go to the bathroom?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know, but like I kept that up definitely like longer than I should have. And I'm just like, eventually I think my parents were just like, you don't have to tell us every time.
Oh, that's great.
You can just
Homebrewer Trekkies Unite just sent me a message. The chroma key stuff on the Craig clips is actually part of the Cinepack file format that Sega made. So there you go. I had that all wrong. I thought it was like whatever cloth they had, but no, that's all part of the format.
Tell him that is probably my favorite Rickroll variant video out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's slightly better than the Skibbity toilet version.
It's 100% better than that version. 100, yeah.
But the only other one that even comes to mind for me, aside from the Craig Statler one, is the one where they layer Robo's theme from Chrono Trigger.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I mean, it matches up kind of alarmingly well. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I kind of think Mitsuda may have borrowed a little something there. I don't know.
So just to put everything more into context, I think that like first time we had talked to Nick to see if he wanted to be on, it was like right after the Sega Rally video had come out. I think that that was like when it was closest to happening. I think we had mentioned it.
I think so.
Before then,
I think that's right.
Which is almost 5 hours.
Yeah,
it's getting close. 4.5. I think it was 4:25 or something.
It's 4:40.
Oh shoot! Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That got long.
So, in my opinion, Nick is putting together what I think is basically one of the best documentary series on YouTube. And it's just every single one, like just shows like you have put so much work into it that it's just staggering the amount of like people you interview, like how much research you do for everything is what I think is just like mind blowing. Just like the stuff that you uncover. Yeah. So you just recently did a video, which is only an hour and 40 minutes on Toga King, which is what's it called here? Like what's velocity, like high velocity racing or mountain car racing?
It's called You're right. Yeah, it had some weird Americanized name. Toga King: The Spirits in Japan, and then released in America, not to Europe, but only in America as High Velocity Mountain Racing Challenge. Yeah. Totally different cover, but the game's largely the same. They didn't change a whole lot in game when localizing it. So, thankfully, they did make some changes with some ads, but other than that, yeah.
So when this came out, I watched the first few minutes, but then I downloaded it to my phone so I could watch it on a flight. I had to go to Rochester for work this past week, and my flight was like almost exactly an hour and 40 minutes. So I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time.
It's a sweet spot. That's
good. So I watched this with a man in full business attire sitting next to me at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I put the subtitles on because I could kind of see him like watching it. at the same time.
Okay.
So I put the subtitles. I didn't say anything, just kind of put the subtitles
like,
on.
here you go.
Yeah, here you go. And watched the whole thing and just absolutely loved it. I gotta say, like, one of my favorite things about your videos, and this happens every single time, just about, is that you always have me like looking up, like, oh, what song is this? Because you use like, like, what is it, like vaporwave music throughout, and
yeah, sometimes, yeah.
And I always do, like, I always have to like find like what song you use, and it takes a little while because it's not super easily accessible. Like, I know that the one that you use in your NBA Jam Tournament Edition one, because at the beginning of the NBA Jam Tournament Edition, you talk about like, the Bulls, like just like being amazing, like in like the 90s, right? And you have this like great montage of like Jordan just like doing, like, just playing awesome, and you have this one song, and it took me forever to find that one song that you used there. And then I think it was the Sega Rally video. You used some songs by, what is it, like Late Arcane, I think it is.
Yeah, I used a couple of those. Really good vaporwave artists for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if that person's done more than just the one album, but the one album like totally rails. And he's like all about people using them in videos and stuff. I think he commented in the Rally video too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Great artist.
I ended up like that album is on Apple Music, and really? When I got I found it, and I listened to a whole bunch, and I went through. How like they like on everything at the end of the year they have like, here's the albums that you listen to the most, or the songs you listen to the most, and that was my fourth most listened to album of the entire year.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Right on. I do have a track list in the description of at least all the recent videos, so hopefully you were able to find that when looking those up. I don't know if the Jam video had a track list, but yeah, there's usually a link to a text file listing all the songs and which time code they appear.
All right. Yeah. Well, I did not know that.
Now you know. There you go.
This game's title screen seems to have like some sort of junk at the bottom of the menu.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like in the overscan. You can kind of see it. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
There was a $5 super chat from Dad1153. Thank you. Saying my favorite YouTubers on the same stream. Gents, what's your favorite cross-platform release on Saturn? Mine is Road Rash, SFA 2. What's that? I'm not sure what that is. SFA 2.
Hang on. What is that?
Mass Destruction and MSH.
Well, thank you for the kind words.
Was it MS?
That's Street Fighter Alpha 2, by the way. Street Fighter Alpha 2. I'm pretty sure.
And Marvel is Marvel Superheroes.
Yep, for sure.
MSH is my shaking head, right?
I'm not gonna put on the widescreen, although I could. I didn't realize they had a widescreen mode until I just went in here. So
it's not true widescreen in Touge King. It's just it's letterboxed.
That's right. You mentioned that in the video. Now that I think about it.
As far as like cross-platform game for me,
right.
I mean, my Saturn knowledge is nothing compared to the two people with me here.
Well, mine is nothing compared to Nick. He gave us this list of things to play tonight, and there's like a lot of stuff that is, that I've never played.
I would say for me, like, it's probably a super basic answer, but I guess Resident Evil. I mean, because it's probably
that's a good one.
It's probably the game that I have like actually spent like the most time like kind of looking at the differences, and I've played through most of the Saturn version before, and I think it's a pretty good version. So I also have Tetris Plus on Saturn and PS1.
Is it A that's okay? A, I guess
C is, you want C for gas. C will accelerate in automatic.
Okay, I think I accidentally changed it. Like I made it like A is automatic.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay.
You'd mentioned that you should use the hard control in this because it like makes it a lot easier to.
Yeah, if you're able to change the suspension to hard, I didn't get a chance to see if you did, but that should make the drifting mechanics a little better to deal with.
Okay.
I did.
If you're using a D-pad.
Hook up your Nechicon.
So how do I drift specifically? Do I gotta like tap brake or something, or tap B?
So what you have to do is, so there's two types of brakes. The regular brake is if you press B without pressing gas at the same time.
Okay.
If you press B while also pressing gas, like if you're pressing B while still holding your gas button, that'll engage the E-brake, which will drift.
Got it. Okay.
And, yep. And what you want to do is when you enter a corner with any corner with red stripes is when you drift. And right before you enter it, you engage the E-brake for like a split second, crank the wheel, let off the gas and brake while you're drifting through the corner, level out your steering, and then once your car is leveled out, then you press gas to carry your way out of the corner. Yeah, it's weird, but once you get used to it, you'll feel like a total drift king, as the title of the game suggests. Any corner where there aren't red lines, you can pretty much go through those without having to drift until you get to the last course in the game. And Jonathan Hinson, to answer your question, my favorite cross-platform game. Or sorry, that was the wrong person. Dad1153.
No, Jonathan Henson had said, "Hey Panda, thanks for introducing me to Toga King. I'm always on the lookout for new Japanese racing games. Your videos are legend, man."
Thank you. I'm happy you liked it.
That's what we're watching now, Toga King, right?
Yes.
Yep, this is Toga King. And if you like the Japanese racing games, Wangan Dead Heat is pretty funny to check out. Don't play the localized version, play the Japanese version. They really censored it when they brought it to the Americas. So Dad 1153, my favorite cross-platform release on Saturn is Street Racer. Digital Foundry actually just covered this in his video comparing racing games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he pointed this out. What's really neat about Street Racer is most ports going from PlayStation to Saturn or Saturn to PlayStation, the devs will design the game for one console to its specs and then attempt to mirror that to the other console, which causes some issues. Like we saw that with Symphony of the Night, we saw that with Wipeout, and then some other games from Saturn to PS1 here and there. Whereas Street Racer just they catered to each console's hardware. They didn't try to port the Street Racer from PlayStation to Saturn or vice versa. They made Street Racer for PlayStation and they made Street Racer for Saturn. So the Saturn version uses VDP2 for all of its like ground textures and layers, its infinite planes, while using VDP1 to build the polygonal obstacles that are on the course and other environmental pieces. And then the PlayStation version of Street Racer doesn't try to do infinite plane stuff. It just takes advantage of what the PlayStation has for its 3D graphics and such. That not enough people did that when making cross-platform games.
I mean, they were kind of doing things the old way.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you would have games on the NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, and each one would be not really that similar.
Right.
So how do I choose the hard suspension? Is it like certain?
Okay. So I'm first off, you want to do Type B. That'd be the car I'd recommend the most. And there should be an option for tune-up when you select it. If memory serves correct, you might not be able to tune it up when you're in this like one-player campaign mode. That might only work in time trial or after you've beaten certain races. I don't know. Hit start and see what happens. It might pop up here.
Let me see if it does here.
No, I guess not. Shoot.
Oh, here we go. Tune up. I mean, that's okay. I can.
Oh.
So is it?
It should be the suspension. If you change that to hard, that should make steering and drifting a little easier if you're using the D-pad. For those watching, if you play this game and have a Saturn racing wheel or have some other way to do analog controls in an emulator, highly recommend using that. This game was built to be used with the wheel, but it does work with the D-pad. So
there was a $10 super chat from Sizwiv. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saying, thanks for inspiring me to check out Saturn, Panda. Playing Layer Section and Virtual Fighter 2 is probably the most fun I had gaming this year.
Oh,
By the
wow.
way, your Ditka bit was one of the funniest things I saw this year.
Thank you, and I'm happy to hear that you're enjoying the Saturn and getting into the library. That's awesome to hear.
I mean, what
Layer
is
Section's
your-
a really good game, by the way. Great game to get into.
I mean, what is your personal history with the Saturn? Like, did you grow up with it, or were you introduced later?
Introduced later. So I was actually a PlayStation kid growing up in the 90s / early thousands. And I got into retro gaming kind of while I was in middle school. A buddy of mine told me that I could play Super Nintendo games on the computer if I downloaded weird stuff off the internet. And I was like, that sounds awesome. I'm going to get into that. And it just kind of snowballed from there. The family computer got loaded up with weird emulators and ROMs. Parents kept asking questions about what's going on here. And I'm like, it's old games. You know, it's no big deal. It's not illegal, I swear. And then just kind of from there, I started buying older consoles throughout like middle and high school, collecting games and stuff. And
So did you collect Saturn games before they were expensive?
Yes and no.
Some.
Yeah, a few. I got into the Dreamcast first, and then I very quickly discovered the Saturn library. And while scrolling through the Saturn library on various weird ROM websites, I was like, these games sound pretty awesome. I really want to play them. So I got SSF on a laptop and just started gunning through a bunch of the classics. And very quickly after that, found my way into getting a Saturn console, chip modded it. It was a Racket Boy chip, and just spent like many weekends in high school, burning game after game for the Saturn and just like playing as much as I could find that seemed remotely interesting. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is like a really wild, crazy console. Like it had its own personality. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of great arcade ports, a lot of really unique stuff. And it has a certain look to it that you don't get in other consoles. Anyone who enjoys playing arcadey type games, they're going to get a lot out of the Saturn library. And of course the Dreamcast too. I played that a bunch while in high school. So yeah, and then just the fascination for retro gaming as a whole, but specifically for the Saturn, kind of kept snowballing. I got my friends into it too, which was nice. There was a few like large friend gatherings where I would, hook up as many controllers as I could for several player Saturn Bomberman, playing virtual on against each other and stuff. Yeah, through high school, me and my high school buddies played a lot of Saturn Bomberman, virtual on, and Asuka 120% Burning Fest limited edition, which if you haven't heard of that game and you have a Saturn or an emulator, I would highly recommend it. It's very fun.
Yeah, really cool animation in it. Like the animation is so smooth.
Great sprite work.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it played it a bunch through college, obviously, and got into journalism, and eventually decided I wanted to make a bunch of YouTube videos about this. So yeah, I made some YouTube videos while I was in high school, like a few, but they're not very good and they're no longer online. So, but I got back into it after college. So.
I wish I had my Saturn awakening much sooner, because I feel like just when I got into it made it, and also being like very much of a mentality of like,
I taking off there at the beginning. I'm just whoop.
I don't feel motivated usually to like really dedicate myself to a game unless I own it.
Yeah,
And,
I feel that.
That's a complication on Saturn, because
it is.
American
you kind of
games are
have to
very
pirate
expensive. And I honestly I knew so little about the Saturn. I mean, I didn't know anyone who had a Saturn. I had never used one until a friend of ours from the back loggery was getting rid of her Saturn and was like, hey, I'm sending you my Saturn and my games. And, it came with like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 games. And like, I'm like, wow, okay, this is great. Let me look into other games I might want to buy. And it's like, oh, Saturn is extremely expensive. And like, I had no clue. Like, it was just a complete blind spot for me. and kind of remains one to some extent. But I would say that something I've really noticed in just the past few years, and to be completely honest, I suspect you have a not insignificant part to play in this. I feel like Sega Saturn's reputation has like not just been rehabilitated, but like significantly elevated in even in very recent years. Like, because I'm more and more seeing in retro game communities people talking about the N64, PlayStation, and Saturn, and it just seems like more and more people are saying the Saturn is their favorite of those. And I think part of that is, increased awareness of the games, like through your channel, and also just the fact that as people get older, they're gravitating toward the Saturn because it's got more like pick up and play arcade action style games compared to PlayStation and N64, where that wasn't a focus quite as much. So I think maybe it was the wrong system at the wrong time, because people now today, people are looking for those kinds of games today more so than maybe they were at that time.
Yeah, I think just there were a lot of people who grew up with the N64, and those people kind of got locked into the platformers and Zelda games and stuff, which were great, and I still thoroughly enjoy those. And then with PlayStation, there was a lot of RPGs and platformers and stuff, mainly for the Western audience that grew up with it. I think people are discovering the Saturn had more variety than just the console that had Nights into Dreams and Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
Especially with the Japanese library. And the PlayStation and N64 have a big variety too. It's just each console kind of had its own.
Asuka, does that need a RAM cart?
Oh, it might.
That's right, everyone. PandaMonium says the N64 had great variety too. All right.
Now, on that note, it did have fewer games.
It did, but
yeah, I gotta switch this thing on.
It's got enough. It's got enough games worth playing.
I'm still a Saturn man, full and through, but yeah, N64 had some variety. Not as much as like PS1 and Saturn, but like it still had some. I think a lot of people are, in retrospect, giving it a lot of hate for some reason nowadays. I don't know what the deal is, but it means more Saturn fans, so that's fine. Cool. I'm all about that. It's a 120% Burning Fest limited. I think limit over was the patch. And I believe that this is just the stock game. Someone asked in the chat. So
that is that is a complicated series of names to remember.
Yeah, it's a weird naming convention.
All right, I switched to the satiator system because I feel like it was.
Is it the FRAM mod?
The FRAM mod has been causing issues and was not allowing me to play a whole bunch of stuff.
Got it. Okay. Want to real quick just shout out Sega, Saturn, Shiro, the Shiro Media Group people. Got me a lot of like. They got me on as a podcast member like many years ago, back kind of when things were still relatively new with them, and things have been real cool with them. So they do a thing every week, the Shiro Show, every Friday night, where it's just a live stream talking about Saturn news with the homebrew scene, with re-releases and stuff like that, discovering weird cheat codes and other things like that into in old games that haven't been documented and stuff. So would highly recommend folks check them out if you're interested in Saturn history and the current goings on of the library and its homebrew scene.
Yeah, like the de facto source.
Yeah, they've been very good people to work with, and it's been very good to be a part of that. So,
and your new video was like branded as like being part of that group.
Oh yeah, my videos have been branded as being part of them for a while. Yeah, I think since I want to say since the Virtua Fighter remix video, but it might have even been earlier than that. Come to think of it.
Okay. I got
so
their
Steelbook
magazine
Blinders working. That's good. Yeah, the magazine was awesome. Dave and Peter Malik, and I think Pat, all three of them did a large amount of work into getting the magazine going. Dave did a lot of the graphic design.
Mm-hmm.
I think Peter wrote up a lot of the articles for it too. Yeah, they did spectacular work on that. We've been trying to get issue number 2 going, but adult life and scheduling is a thing. So just kind of contending with that.
Punch was wanting to know, Panda, if you've played the Saturn core on Mister.
I have not. I actually don't have a Mister. But the Saturn core has made like a ton of leaps and strides recently. That's become a very viable way to play the Saturn now, which I don't think a lot of us expected to be a thing like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my main concern with it is like I know so relatively little about the Saturn library that I wouldn't really be able to pick up on problems with it easily, right? So, there will be that thing, nagging at me at the back of my head saying, like,
cool decision.
Do you know if it's doing it correctly? I'm sure it's very accurate, but I tend to be slow to trust things like that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I've slowly been trusting like the X Station ODE more and more. I mean, it takes me a couple of years to like really get fully comfortable. Like I'll see like something is acting kind of funny in a game, and I'm like, I don't know, and then I'll go like try the disc on my regular unmodified PS1, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's how it is with a real disc too. So just little things like that I can go back and check. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I trust this thing now. I'm just
the guy
I'm
working on it.
A little slow to trust it.
I think his like screen name is pronounced Surge, or at least that's kind of what I've heard people refer to him as.
I think that's right.
He's put a lot of work into this, into that core. So any Mister people should definitely give it a go if they haven't yet. And updates for that just constantly keep coming out, like on a nearly weekly basis. Like I think Video Game Esoterica does a video about the Saturn Mister Core updates, like at least once a week. See those pop up, and I'm like, oh, Surge did it again. It's great.
I can't get enough of Video Game Esoterica's videos about the Super Sega.
God, that's a heated topic.
Yeah,
that's something else. I want to point out that the game you're playing now and Touge King, the game before, were both made by Cave, for people watching this, famous for what we'll call shoot 'em ups, like Doronpachi and Mushihime-sama and Death Smiles. They made games like this and like Touge King back when they started, before they just really decided to lean into to shoot 'em ups.
Yeah, I had no idea they had ever made anything but shooters. So this is, I mean, and with like these polygon models and everything, I had no idea.
I think originally they were making stuff like this because they thought like, oh, these will help pay the bills. We can make these other games that we like really want to make. But then ended up being the other way around.
Exactly. They came in from Toa Plan, like Toa Plan folded, and a bunch of the Toa Plan people broke off into different companies, and some of them created Cave. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure if the racing games were like a means to fund their shoot 'em up game efforts, or if it was like they wanted to make both genres, but then the shoot 'em ups just wound up making more money. I don't know. But yeah, someone pointed out that Surge, the guy making the Mr. Core for Saturn, is Ukrainian and was doing all of that while Russia was invading. So that's something to acknowledge and something people should be aware of. So despite all that, still like weekly updates with the Mr. Core, which is just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, early on it was fewer and far between because and there was a lot of speculation, like what was going on with him, because there was no updates for a very long time from him. And everyone, like, I know a lot of people.
I'm sorry, I was laughing at a comment in the chat. Just wanted to make that clear. Yeah.
I mean, I think there was a point where, at first, when it started happening, that everyone was like, I hope he's okay,
Right, yeah.
There's just
like him and Crix and...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get to a different...
Yeah, it was rough for a bit there. Shout out to SSG, Southern Sega gentleman.
Oh yeah.
Saying for the shoot 'em up genre, calling it linear overhead third person perspective combat simulator.
Ooh.
So, can you like describe like what I'm supposed to do here? My brain wants me to play it like SSX. You know,
Right,
I want
yeah.
to hold down the jump button to kind of wind it up, and like that's not what I want to do.
So it's like, how do I put this? So like, modern day us wants to play steep slope sliders like it's SSX or like, you know, any of those other extreme sports games, but what they really created is something for you to just kind of chill in, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You can do tricks and get points. You can crank out a really fast time if you want, but there's no goal. There's really no progression. You just sort of exist in on the slopes and, you know, do whatever you want. Go off jumps, slide down, do flips, enjoy the view. Like, do whatever you want. It'll track your time and it will track your scores and all of that, but there's no like requirement to do game stuff. You can really just chill.
That's kind of cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
Like part of me,
That,
like,
I don't know if that's what they were going for, if it was rushed or what, but that's certainly what they pulled off, and it's got a nice vibe to it for sure.
And it almost feels like I can just use the trigger, like the shoulder buttons, to kind of maneuver if you wanted to, instead of even more so than using the D-pad. You can just like supplement the like barely like press the D-pad, or like
You
like
can just give it a little touch.
Yeah.
The shoulder buttons spin your board,
Right.
and the D-pad does steering. So if your board's more, you know, perpendicular to the camera, then you'll go a little slower. Spinning it while steering can help with controlling your turns if you're trying to go through a big swarm of trees like you did just then. Yeah, it's comfy. It's a very comfy 3D game.
There was a notification that Machina Gamma has been a member 75 months in a row.
75.
And the comment for that was, wow, been a member for 75 months. So which I also say, wow. I mean, that's a lot.
This title screen, like the font used and just the color and like the design of it, is one of the most 90s things that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it looks like it was made in Photoshop.
Cool decision.
You know, just like made in Photoshop, and you know, with like the drop shadow on it. I mean, just.
I like the psychedelic loading screens that it has too. It really adds to it.
I'm going to backpedal through a few of these notifications here and get back to, because a bunch just came through. There was Shadow Mask has been a member for 38 months. There are saying, wow, been a member for 38 months.
Wow. Wowzers.
Wow. And also no note from Charlie Hunt, but thank you.
Thank you.
Oh wait, Charlie Hunt has
Oh, look at that. I love that sign.
Charlie Hunt did leave a comment in the chat though, saying retro gaming is filled with frauds. Amazing to see 3 of the realists together. PandaMonium, you are running
Oh,
the YouTube game. Running the YouTube game.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
for
mean,
saying it.
Panda is criminally undersubscribed. Like, I cannot believe that, you know, I mean, you know, everyone says that, you know, like I can't believe you don't have more subscribers type deal. You know, like that's like the go-to thing that like a lot of people will say, but it is like legitimately true. And I just, it's mind blowing that you like, I mean, you should be bigger than us. You should be bigger than like just about everybody. Just like, you're just doing, I think the coolest work of like just about everybody in the games, in the retro game scene on YouTube. I
really appreciate hearing that, and it means a lot. I'm just happy that they're watching it all. That's, you know, I'm happy that the nerds like the videos, the Saturn fans like it all. You know,
yeah.
I think that I do hear that a lot. A lot of people will say that, but it does seem like I've at least captured the majority of like the Saturn fan base with the videos. Like I think most of the people in the retro scene who are really into Saturn are watching, which is great. And there's a lot of people who are getting into the Saturn because of the videos that I've put out, and a bunch of people who I've seen comment saying, "I'm never going to play the Saturn, but I like watching your videos." And like, oh, okay, that's also really nice to see. But yeah, no, I appreciate the kind words. Thanks a bunch for it.
But like what I feel about your stuff is that you are a real journalist, and your videos reflect that. Like, I mean, that's like what you do as a living. So obviously the kind of research that you're used to doing can carry over and also like interviewing
a lot of
people.
Overlap.
So I think that like really allows you to just come up with a lot of things that a lot of people would not think about. Just like enthusiast people just doing YouTube like for fun, or just like interviewing or doing like documentaries for fun. I think that your profession allows you to go further into it, or deeper, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. There's absolutely a lot of overlap that goes between like the two sides of what I do. I don't know what to call it, but
does anybody that you work with like know? Oh, look, that dog's chasing
people. Oh yeah, the dog's awesome. Yeah, I mean, people I've worked with in the past have still watch. Like, I'll get texts from old coworkers being like, "Wow, the Sega Rally video, that was crazy," like, which is neat.
That's really cool.
Yeah. There's a handful of folks who watch here and there who I've worked with, like in my profession, but yeah.
But your writing style also carries over like so good. It's just like I feel as though it's something like, as someone who struggles with writing scripts, like yours are so descriptive, and you just there's something you said in like the Toga King video where it says that controlling a certain car was like it was like on shopping cart wheels.
Oh yeah. So I was talking about the Type E car, like trying to control a runaway tank on shopping cart wheels. I think,
which is incredibly descriptive, and I can't. Like, how did you even come to that conclusion that that's what it feels like?
That's just what it felt like. This is what it felt like, man. It was terrible. It's a terrible car. Like, it was horrible. Unfortunately, it's the fastest car in the game. But yeah, controlling it just absolutely sucks.
Okay. So what do you want me to play next, though, really quick?
It took me a little longer to backtrack to this one that I meant, but there was 6 minutes ago. Oh, I guess not that long ago. From Dab1153 again. Thank you. Saying, oh wait, Corey is. Oh, I guess Corey is getting up to reset. Saying, try Corey chat room. What's your favorite PandaMonium video so far? I love the virtual racing videos. High octane, Molly new BSing, and Genwar.
Nice. I'm happy you like the Genwar video. That was the first interview I did for the series in the history of the channel. So I still love that video a lot, and the story behind that game. It's so fascinating. Like, the game's not really good, but it really should have been, So yeah.
Looks like, why don't I have Asuka in here? Is it because I have a smaller SD card in here? Although,
oh sure, okay.
Now that I know that it has like a new firmware that does exactly what I want it to, like I just got a deal for like one of those 1.5 terabyte SD cards, micro SD, and I'm like, oh, now I can just use that with it. If it.
Oh, let's see. Do you got Zero Divide on there? That one's pretty fun.
Let's see here. Is that US or is there US?
It was Japan only.
Got it.
Zero Divide was.
Like
there was also a notification that Paul Sutton has been a member for 46 months in a row, saying, now that's what I call 3 years, 10 months. And then Jersey 117 has been a member 30 months in a row, saying, wow, been a member for 30 months.
See, Paul Sutton, I bring this up every time, but I guess it's especially relevant today. Is that Paul Sutton used to have a replica, or like the Celica from Sega Rally. He had like that same.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know him
like
from my old like forum days, and everything. Like I've known him for a long time. Like we were on the same forum,
Zoom
and we like
presents a 3D polygonal fighting.
Is it polygonal or polygonal? Could be either way. All right.
Yeah,
So this is like
yes.
basically it's Virtua Fighter with robots. That's pretty much what this is. Not a lot of people talk about Zero Divide. It's got killer music. The Saturn port is I don't remember if it's a port or what the deal is, but it's well done. It's a good game. Decent-ish use of VDP2, and the graphics in it are fun.
Do you have a second instance of the capture card underneath the big one? Is that why we see that little thing at the bottom?
If I turn it off, let's
think that-
do
I
it.
think
Yeah, I
that's what's
do.
going
Looks
on.
like it's. Oh, that's what's going on. Is that
That's what's
it's
going
the
I was blaming
it's,
the
it's,
game.
it's the Discord capture.
Oh.
Let me see if I can just fix that though. Cover that up. Is this whole game 480i or whatever in high res mode? I guess it would be a fighting game, so there's a good chance that it would be.
I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Do you have any character? I kind of want to play as Wild 3.
Go for it. Yeah, I mean, there's really no wrong answer for characters in this game. The thing that the trouble I had with it is the first two characters I tried, I just really could not figure out the fighting style. But then there was once I got to like character 3 or 4 or whatever, something clicked and it worked just fine after that, and it just railed. And by the way, I got a quick answer on the Zero Divide question at Trekkies Unite, just saying that we're pretty sure that Zero Divide on Saturn is the third game in the series, and the first two were on PlayStation, I think, or something along those lines.
It's not like Criticom, was it? Is one of them called Criticom? Is that
I don't think Criticom is a Zero Divide game.
okay.
I don't think it was.
That's just like for some reason that's what popped in my head that there was going to be. Which I've never played Criticom. I just, it's funny because I was just having a conversation with, I don't know. I think I mentioned it to my son, where he was asking about something and I just like knew this like random answer to it, and then it clicked to me. Like I was like, it's kind of amazing how much I know about video games compared to like literally everything else in my life. Like I just know so much more about video games than like anything else in my life, which is kind of like a weird realization, I think, to think of. I don't know. Maybe it just seems more mind-blowing to me at the time. I don't know. Like I just know so much more than
I mean, I would say the same holds true for me.
Is this a 3-button game?
There might be some things I know.
Yeah, it's Virtua Fighter controls. So A is block, B is kick, and B is punch, and C is kick. There's a bunch of directional inputs for your combos.
Probably more things I know about some things than Sega Saturn.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, just video games in general.
Yeah.
See if I can win a freaking one single round here.
There was a £2 from Engine UK. Thank you, as always. Saying the Sega Rally video is my highlight of the year.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Highlight of the year.
Yeah, that was
no game, no movie, no great meal the Engine UK had surpassed the Sega Rally video.
There's got to be a meal better than this.
So you have an interview coming out pretty soon with the voice of like Daytona, essentially.
Voice of Sega himself, yeah.
Yes.
Takanobu Mitsuyoshi. So the translation for it is done. Just kind of ironing out the timing of the subtitles and doing some other final checks and stuff. That should be out soon. I don't have like a date for it yet, but that's coming here pretty soon. So, but yeah, the guy who sang in Daytona and did the soundtrack for like a million other Sega games and still works at Sega to this day. Did a lot of sound design work too, not just music, with like sound effects and such. So mainly music, though, that's kind of his forte with Sega.
John
talked a lot about kind of how he got his start and sort of his creative process. And some of the key stories behind, how he got to sing for Daytona at all. That had kind of its own interesting background story as to why that even happened. It's kind of funny, and I don't want to spoil too much of it, but the thing that stuck out to me the most is this guy was an economics major in college. Like, he didn't do like music by training at all. It just kind of happened, and then
he just happened to have this golden voice.
He started with just composing music for Sega, but even how that started was like weird and odd how that like got going for him as a career. And then here we are like 30 plus years later, and he's still doing it. It's just awesome. Yeah, he's got a great story. So really happy to have that happen. Shout out to a couple of people who helped get that together. CNUN/BurnEns and Corey Maru, who's on YouTube. Both helped a lot with kind of getting me connected with him. Various Sega PR people and other folks will be credited once the video's out. So yeah, that interview is great. He had so many good stories to tell, and I can't wait to have that posted here pretty soon. So, and it's just the interview by itself. So I usually don't post full interviews, but I don't want to I don't know where else to put it.
Yeah, and it's probably nice because you have that, and you can like tap him if he needs something for a future video.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But
or use clips from it for other stuff that comes up.
Yeah. But it's got to be cool just to like talk to this legendary composer, right? It's just
it was awesome. Yeah, it was sick.
I mean, he's like the game over guy. Not him?
Yeah. Oh no, that I think that was someone else. I'm not. He like did the music for Sega Rally, but I'm not 100% sure if he's saying Game Over. Yeah, he for sure didn't do that in the Saturn.
Saying Daytona.
Oh yeah, he is 100% the singer in Daytona. Absolutely, that is him.
There was two Canadian from good old Toast saying, "I've found a polygon." I'm curious.
All right.
Was it a quad or a triangle though?
I'm getting so spanked at this game. I can't even. I don't understand.
Did you try picking a different fighter? Have you been fighting the?
I will pick a different fighter. Let me see if I can.
Got it.
Oh, is this just going to take me back? If this is just going to take me back, I'll play. I'll switch to. Let's see what it does here. I don't know if it's going to take me.
Sandy does not want to move off my lap.
Oh yeah, it's going to take me back to Pseudo Saturn. I'll just play something else, I guess.
Right on.
Going back to what Corey was saying earlier, EB Chill had a $5 super chat saying, "I get that look when I start talking about video games and 480i too, Corey." Through just some stuff that came up that Drum was talking about on the Backloggery stream on Monday, and then Googling, I came across this podcast called the Bore You to Sleep podcast. And it's this like British guy who reads like a variety of things, but like a lot of it is like essays from the late 1800s. And it got me thinking about like how like he's got this like super monotone British voice where he just talks like this very boringly and goes on and on and on. And I thought, like, wouldn't it be amazing for him to just like read any of our videos in that voice? Because I feel like our content could potentially be very good material for the Bore You to Sleep podcast. But, you know, we might say these things in kind of an animated way sometimes. You know, so I feel like it needs to be toned down with his voice, but the actual content of the scripts sounds like it would be great for that podcast. No, Mr. Do. It turns out the one Drum was talking about was a different one. I think the one he found was called like Sleep With Me or something like that.
Oh, jeez. That's a little rough.
It was something like that. The one I found is called Bore You to Sleep.
Yeah.
It would be really nice if, that if you're sleeping and you just like absorb all that information without having to like actually pay attention to it.
Yeah, like the Matrix or something, right?
Yeah.
That would be nice. You'd like learn languages that way or something. Like,
yeah, just
super convenient.
I'm trying to figure out like the character proportions here because like the girl in the yellow shirt like seems fairly normal, and then you've got like these like Popeye hands and like goofy shoes, like
that happens in this game a lot. Yeah,
there's not a lot of consistency in art style. Like, what is up with those Popeye arms? Like, it'd be one thing if both characters had that, but like only one character having it is strange.
Well,
to me.
clearly Asuka's just eating her spinach, man. Like,
Or
she's
I
got
like
by
Reese's theory here. He says she's from FF7.
I saw this like incredibly good troll post on Blue Sky yesterday, where it was like this picture of like pixel art Final Fantasy VII, and it's like on a PlayStation 2 box, and it says,
oh, I saw this one. Yeah,
if Final Fantasy VII was made in the 90s. And it was like such a good troll. It's like it got me like for about 8 seconds. I was like it made me like irrationally angry in so many different ways. And I was I mean, it's like it's very obvious, but it got me for about 8 seconds. So they're working on I think a big fan of this game is Brandon Sheffield from the Insert Credit podcast and Necrosoft Games. He's a big fan of this game, and was just talking about in a recent podcast that they're like some of the original developers are working on like a sequel to it.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah,
I didn't hear about that. That's awesome. Yeah, I love this game, so that's really good to hear. I didn't know about that. I have not been keeping up with it clearly, but yeah, this is like one of my favorite Saturn games for sure. It has been for a long time.
In
Music's
the chat
really good.
seems rather skeptical of using
music's killer.
Of using CHD, like for an ODE like this. Like,
I think it needs to have a specific additional RAM. Like that's why the like emulators and the Mister can do it because it has like additional components that can deal with that on its own.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it can happen. Like
he seems a little more skeptical of it, like through something that's not an emulator like this, though.
I don't think it's possible with something like this.
But so you're not using CHD on here?
No.
Oh,
you have to use Bin and Q for these.
Maybe he was responding to something in the chat then, because I thought he was being critical of the files that you had on.
I think the thing with CHD is it gets rid of like information that's not needed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know exactly how it works or anything like that, but I think it just gets rid of redundant data that's not needed. But I mean, I don't have like a lot of experience with it. I mean, just like how they work. So,
I mean, I don't know a lot about compression, but I would.
I mean, I don't think it's compressing.
I would think that there's no way that it can be lossy if it works the way it does in emulators and stuff. Like I just feel like it wouldn't function if it was lossy.
Right. It's not recompressing like all the files or anything like that. I think it's just getting rid of redundant data. And that's why they're always like, it can make a big difference or it doesn't make much of a difference.
Oh, thank you, Madonna Shihi. I didn't catch that the conversation was related to the previous super chat. Sorry for taking a moment to get to it. Rent optional. Thank you. Saying, I don't think you were having issues with your FRAM mod and the mode earlier. I have the same issues if I use CHD files on the mode. Just use bin Q.
I didn't know you can. No, I mean, I've had problems with the FRAM mod just without like where it just disappears. And it just, even if you try to just like access it from the BIOS, it just doesn't see it. And I don't know how to make it like reappear, but it does reappear most of the time. I haven't had that problem in a very long time. But I do have a satiator, or or as I call it, satiator at times, because I feel like it just fits better.
Hang on, real quick. I just want to butt in some gameplay tip here.
Sure.
So when your meter's at 120%, you can do your super combo as many times as you want until the flame burns out. And your super combo, I'm pretty sure, is double quarter swing C, like double forward quarter swing C. And if it's not that, it's down, down C. One of those two, I'm pretty sure. So when you get to a point where you're able to hammer that out, see if it does anything. I don't actually play as Asuka in this game, so I'm not totally confident that's her super combo.
This right here?
Try. Yeah, okay.
Where you kind of like tank through like hits too, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Asuka is Popeye Arms girl.
Yeah, not the cheerleader here.
Pom Pom Girl is pretty fierce. She's tough.
Jeremy Rovita had a super chat saying, "I suck at Asuka 120%. Never won one fight." I mean that could potentially be me.
Yeah, well, I'm doing better here than
You'll get there.
I did better here than I was with Zero Divide. So, I mean, this is more my style, anyways.
Yeah.
I mean,
Zero Divide takes a bit to get into, but yeah, it's I swear it's good.
Yeah,
this game's awesome.
And it looked
everybody loved Asuka.
I mean,
I really, really want to know if there's a lore reason behind her arm proportions.
Right, it's a stylistic choice, I think.
Some of the other characters have like similar issues going on. Like
it's just fascinating.
It is, yeah.
I just want to know more.
When we were originally talking about like sprite size and everything, I think I got it confused with the that one Sunsoft fighting game with the big blue like teddy bear looking thing with the big long arms.
Astra Superstars?
Is that what it is? I don't remember what it is.
I think that is a Sunsoft fighter, but I don't know if it's
I don't remember
that
Sunsoft.
Waku Waku 7, that's it.
Oh yeah,
I got it confused with that.
It's another good one. Waku Waku 7's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Let's switch. We just keep on going through different stuff, and I feel like a lot of the stuff on this SD card is like out of order. I don't know.
Do you have on this SD card Arcade Gears Volume 1 Puli Rula?
Oh, I'm sure that I do. Well, I think I may have streamed that one like when we did something similar when John Lennon was here.
Oh, you did. So I
want to do already. It's so weird and funny that I will happily play it again.
Which
awesome.
one?
Was it like the Puri?
It would be in the A section. So
yeah,
Arcade Gears Volume 1 Puri. Oh yeah, there you go. So it's that one.
Puli Rally.
Puli Rula.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's just when you see this, you'll be like, oh, this one.
Okay.
Because it is.
It's something.
Yes, and it's it's funny because it says Xing there. I always assumed it was crossing. This game it's so weird. I feel like it's got an Arcade Archives release on modern systems.
I think it might have. I think I remember seeing that somewhere
within the last like couple of years or last year or so.
Wow, that title screen just looks like to me looked like an early 80s arcade title screen.
I mean the characters, the character animations and everything is just so good in this.
Okay, this seems a little familiar. Yeah, I think I remember. Were you playing as a different character though?
I might have been. Just one of those. I don't know. It's so weird, but it is an arcade game, which makes it even cooler, I think.
The floor texture makes me think of Toe Jam and Earl.
It does.
Yeah. It's got that bowling alley carpet vibe.
Yes.
Like
what even
I feel like I
is
could
that
spill a
thing
soda
that
on it.
is like the go this way thing?
I don't know. Thinking about a bowling. I mean, I love bowling. Bowling is like something that I appreciate more as I get older. And I love to take the kids bowling sometimes. But I would just go bowling on my own if I could. Do I pick that up?
I don't think you can. I was never able to. Just picks it up and runs away.
The walking animation is he has such intent.
Right. He's going somewhere with a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes you want to walk through life like that. And I feel like nobody would mess with you. Like, oh, he's got somewhere to be.
Got to go from R1 to R6. He's got to do it in as fast as possible.
So you get the you pick up the dogs and like they're like bonus.
Yeah. The enemies turn into puppies and they give you points if you collect them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think some of them turn into like pigs and stuff.
Yeah, there it is.
That texture on the sky is interesting too. Like normally I'd be like, oh, look at that dithering, but I'm pretty sure it's like not done out of necessity.
Yeah, I think that might be.
They wanted it to look that way.
I like that your super is like summoning this purple dude. This muscular purple guy.
He's helpful.
Yeah. I gotta get those pigs. Gotta make them squeal like a pig. Got some pumpkins. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure there is like an archives on modern systems now. A little tweet.
That comment from the Croc stream, I think it was Jez that said like, oh, Saturn is very powerful hardware. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but that got a almost weird amount of traction.
Yeah, that had some legs to it.
Yeah, people were like, oh, Argonaut founder says Saturn more powerful than PlayStation, as if like it's like this definitive thing.
Argonauts out here like reigniting age-old console wars.
Yep.
Look at this nose,
People who fought each other on Usenet are coming back from the grave.
I'm made uncomfortable by this nose.
Yeah. What is
there's a lot in this game that will make people uncomfortable.
I think you need to like get rid of this nose thing as soon as possible.
Yes.
I don't desire to look at it any further.
It makes me think of is it Teen Wolf? The one guy's wearing a t-shirt that says, "What are you looking at, dick nose?" Yeah. You ever seen Teen Wolf? Either of you guys ever seen Teen Wolf?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I need to now. That sold it for me.
Look at this.
I saw it once a good while ago. Wow, yeah, look at that. Look at this.
The thing that I laugh about in Teen Wolf the most is the fact that how much everyone sweats during the basketball game in it. Like they like really are just like drenched in sweat. Jeez, here we go. Can you go in there?
I don't. Nah.
I mean, it feels like they're just like.
I feel like I'm starting to remember more of this game from when you streamed it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, round 3 is really when
it goes
when
off
starts
the rails.
to leave something in your brain.
Can you go in there? It makes you want to try to go in there.
I don't think you. I think the door opens, but there's nothing there.
Okay.
I don't think.
You can hit it. Okay. Well, I walked past it. Oh well. It's very impressive. They definitely made the game they wanted to make.
They absolutely did. Yes. You can tell they were having fun.
Yeah. Look at that tongue too. Whew.
Wow.
I'm very impressed.
That's great. Oh, that's outstanding.
So you have the interview coming out. Like, are there? I feel like you always have got to have several videos, like in various stages, because if you want to source these interviews like far enough in advance, and you got to take them when you can get them too, probably. Where you like, oh, I have something for this video, so I might as well just move
that's
forward on that.
That's becoming more pertinent now, because we're getting to the point where the scope of the series is I'm going to be doing a video about all 246 Sega Saturn games released in North America at some point, and many of the canceled games that didn't come out, maybe some Japanese exclusives here and there. But it's getting to the point where like some of these developers are probably not going to be around for like when I eventually do make the final episode. So I need to start like doing interviews with these developers and get their stories recorded now.
Yeah.
Even if it means I'm not gonna be like posting it immediately or saving it for a video way down the line or something. That's something that I'm kind of working through now and like really contemplating how to deal with. I think I'm going to be doing a lot more interviews with people who made games that I'm not going to be making videos about for a long time, just so that their stories are there. There's a bunch of that I've already done, not with any huge names or anything like that, other than Takanobu Mitsuyoshi, that everybody, that one's coming out soon. But there's a few of those that I've gotten already, especially for the upcoming Double Switch episode.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that one will be fun.
I'm looking forward to that one, for sure.
Yeah. Rad Jago in the chat said, I love what PandaMonium does to highlight the games and creators of the Saturn. I can't imagine someone being interested enough to ask me about work I did decades ago. And I think about that. I think about that a lot because, that's what I always like to say when people like get a little too deep into like, oh, it's got to be composite. Oh, it's got to be RGB. Oh, it's got to look like this. It's got to look like that. It's got to be on this kind of screen. It's CRT or nothing. And I'm like, you know what? I guarantee you there is not a single pixel artist from back in the day who would like turn their nose up at how you are like playing their game. They would just be blown away that you even care decades later. Like, Yeah,
I think that's absolutely the case with a lot of people. But at the same time, I think that there's enough interest now that they probably want to put themselves out there more to say like, oh, if maybe someone will be doing a video on this thing eventually.
Maybe.
I mean, I think that's why I think like having the people from Argonaut on was like so cool. But I think that they have an idea that people are like interested in this stuff now.
Yeah, and I think for some of them it may have been a more recent revelation. Like, oh wow, like they may have not known that the retro gaming like is like this whole scene now. They didn't know about Mister, for instance, but they sure knew about FPGAs, right?
Yeah. This is the game I should make my family play with me on my birthday. I don't know about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely this one.
So
this and Death Crimson for sure.
I'll play that next.
Your family game night. Oh, excellent. Yes, it's time. That's so good.
The reason Mr. Dots is saying that is because my wife especially does like not like games at all. Has like zero interest. So what I want to do for my birthday this year though is play this game, The Quarry. Are you familiar with the game, The Quarry?
I've heard of it. Yeah, is that the co-op game?
Yes. So it has like, it's like a movie, but you can assign like any of the 9 characters to like different people, and it's like a pass the controller type deal. Like, oh, this person's playing, and you play through the whole story, and you get like whatever ending based on whoever is still left alive. And I just thought it'd be really funny or fun to play that, to like say for my birthday, I want you guys just to play through this game with me. Like my son who's 9, my daughter's 12, and my wife. and they're like less than thrilled about it. My wife is like mentally preparing herself for it.
Sure.
She's like, oh, what I think I might do is just drink mimosas all day while we're doing it.
Well, that'll make it extremely fun.
That will make it extremely fun. Yes.
Yeah, she'll have a fantastic time.
What is your? What's your daughter and son's reaction?
Oh, I mean, like I think that my daughter doesn't think like I'm actually going to make her do it. But like, no, this is like, that's what I want. Like, that's what I want more than anything, is just to like play through this game with them, and maybe they would have fun. You know,
Do the kids play games much, or are they kind of?
My son is like way into like obviously like Fortnite and stuff.
Okay, sure, yeah, stuff like that.
And he's he's 9, so he likes to occasionally watch me play games. Like, he just watched me play like Red Dead Redemption.
Sure.
And like he's like, oh, had seen this online or on like YouTube and stuff. I'm like, well, are you sure you did? I don't know if you should be watching stuff about this. But he was familiar with it. And but he doesn't
Right.
He doesn't like things that he has to like try multiple times at, I guess.
Okay.
Like if he plays something, he dies, he's like, oh, I don't really want to play anymore. Except for Fortnite.
I mean, that's all you do in Fortnite is die, right?
You do, yes. But I mean, when you're hanging out with your friends, like as big of a deal as Fortnite is, like I understand it, because when we were kids, that's that's the kind of game that we probably dreamed of, where you go online, you play with all your friends over the internet, and it literally has like every character in it, and that's cool, that's like popular, I just feel like it is certainly something that like this guy with his
it's become a meme now, like how many characters they've crammed into it. You know? Like, oh, of course Goku's in it now. Like,
yeah. Well, I'm constantly surprised who's in it even now.
Yeah.
Like I became like incredibly surprised when I found out that they put Edward Scissorhands.
Boss fight.
I know, he's got the.
Where's this guy needs to get into Fortnite?
Yeah, put this guy in Fortnite.
This boss fight needs to be in Fortnite.
I told like every time going back to like weird people,
800 million characters.
I saw that the Edward Scissorhands was in Fortnite, of all characters. Edward Scissorhands.
Okay, so I saw that and thought it was a joke.
No, it was like for real. Like, you might have seen like.
Okay.
Maybe it was my Blue Sky
I've never played the thing, by the way. I've never touched it. I don't really intend to, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, no, that's a joke. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, what Shadow Mask says is true. It's not even a game. It's a game with almost no original identity anymore. It's the Battle Royale vessel for licensing. But yes, and I think that is absolutely true. But it's like the people who play it are more than happy for it to be that. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, are we creating a generation whose like idea of artistic cohesion is zero cohesion?
In a way, yes. But also everybody who's in there, that if you see something that they're from, you're like, oh, that's that person from Fortnite. Like Eminem was just recently in there, and Snoop Dogg were in there, and my son was like, "Oh, that they're from Fortnite."
I don't know how I feel about that.
I know, it's such a weird thing, but
that's something.
It's weird, but also like I get it at the same time. But it is the kind of thing that it
makes sense. It's
like
just,
I would have dreamed of when I was a kid. Just the idea of I mean, just like the idea of playing games online with somebody for the longest time seemed like an impossibility. At least conveniently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I lost interest with it pretty quick, though, I would say. Just
they're adding like stuff like constantly. Yes. But I think that if you have like a group of people you play with all the time, and you play like Battle Royale, where like the 4 of you are on the same team, and you're working together to try to win this against like other teams of 4, it's kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, like Shadow Mask says, like, it's like a modern equivalent of Phantasy Star Online. you know, or just you get together with 4 people and you just grind out levels all night, you know. But yeah, I mean it's fine. It's fine. I'm still going with this game. I'm just gonna use that my continue.
Yeah, you were just tearing through this here Puli Rula.
Do you feel like it's a relief that you are only doing US Sega Saturn games?
Absolutely, yeah. And that was done on purpose, since there are way fewer US games than games released in Japan. There's more than 1,000 games released worldwide.
Over 1,000.
Yeah, just a hair over 1,000. And that's if you're accounting for all regions. And I think the amount of Japanese games is either close to or over 1,000. There's a few exclusives to Europe and North America that weren't in Japan, but yeah, if you were to do all of them, that'd be a lot. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like in terms of like systems that I didn't have back in the day, and then like really, you know, kind of got all in on, like the closest thing for me would be, I guess, the PC Engine. Like, you know, zero nostalgia for it, but I really like that system, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of feels like an extension of the NES, which is, you know, I consider my favorite system.
Which one? I'm sorry, I got distracted by this boss fight that's on screen.
PC Engine.
PC Engine. Yes, exactly.
The PC Engine kind of feels like an extension of the NES, which is my favorite system. So that kind of made
it really does. Yeah,
it made it really easy for me to, you know, appreciate it.
I still need to get into the PC Engine library. That's one console that I haven't touched enough. It's got a lot of good games for it.
That was it.
There was like a few Darius ports on it that I have played, but other than that, I haven't really messed with PC Engine.
I'm not like the biggest shooter guy, which kept me away from PC Engine for a little while, because that was all that you heard people talk about for it.
Right? Yeah, it's like a shooter console.
I discovered it's so much more than that.
Yeah. The Saturn kind of fell victim to that too. A lot of people just kind of label it. It's the fighter shoot 'em up console. When, you know, likewise, yeah, there are a lot of fighting games and shoot 'em ups. I think half the games we've played were fighting games, but like there are a lot of RPGs, many of which unfortunately only in Japan. A lot of racing games and weird genres and here and there. You have Death Crimson on here. Is it Death Crimson time?
Oh yeah, sorry. For some reason I forgot about it. Yes, I'm sure that I do.
Rears was pushing for Minnesota Fast. That's
it's not on the list.
That's a great game.
It's Billiards, right?
Minnesota Fast is awesome. Yeah. It's one of those games that's only good for its FMVs. Like the pool portion of Minnesota Fats is good. Like it's well designed billiards. It's just that's one of those games you play for the FMVs. What kind of light gun do you got there?
I have a black Japanese stunner.
Nice.
And it does have. I did put the. It's kind of jacked up here. Is it supposed to be like that?
No, that's not normal. Give it a second here. Maybe it'll fix itself after the. No, yeah. That's.
They better not do this to me. Let me reset it. Let me power cycle the system. Maybe it's getting
the issue could be the game itself, not necessarily the ODE. There is some
while
what we'll call creative programming being done here.
While that's rebooting, I think your adjustment to cover the thing on the bottom ended up creating a little bit of a sliver at the top. If you want to. Maybe make a little adjustment there.
Yeah, I was just rebooting the system, just and also taking out the 4 meg RAM card. Maybe that, for whatever reason, was causing an issue. So let's see what happens.
Oh, I didn't realize you were wearing headphones, so I don't think you heard what I just said.
No, I missed it.
Oh, I was saying, I think what I noticed that I think what you did to cover up the little sliver that we could see at the bottom create a sliver at the top that we can see now.
Okay. Well,
of something underneath.
now it's like not working. Hang on. Maybe I'll update that firmware. Maybe I'll end up updating that satiator firmware during the stream after all. Because maybe
Did
that's
Death Crimson just break your satiator?
maybe.
I would believe it. It hasn't broken mine yet.
Well, don't scare me like
The
that.
game is too good.
Let me. I'm gonna update it though. I'm gonna download it. This is how we like to. Yeah, Satiator has a new firmware, Joe, which says it makes it so that you can boot discs directly from it now, which is like the one thing that I wanted.
What do you mean boot discs directly from? You mean
before you had to either have like a pseudo Saturn, a special menu for it, like the pseudo Saturn or for it or whatever, or you had to like remove it to boot directly from a disc that's in the drive, because the satiator goes in the back, goes into the MPEG card slot.
So you're saying you could not load stuff off the disk drive without removing it previously?
Correct. Which is it was kind of a deal breaker for me for a little bit.
Right, I see.
All right, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. All right, be right back.
I like Southern Sega gentleman's suggestion for Gungriffon. If we can't get Death Crimson to get it to work, nothing wrong with blowing up giant robots made out of quads.
Panda, have you followed much about the Saru? Like, do you keep up? 'Cause I haven't really kept up to date on like if it's like how many strides has it made in terms of compatibility, and because it sounds like the kind of thing that would definitely make exploring the Saturn be a little more appealing for me.
The Saru is finicky. It's like it's a cheaper option, which is great because most ODEs are more than $100, and the Satiator's a whopping $250. The issue is that it still has some compatibility problems. That said, those have vastly improved since its release. It had a very, very rocky start. Issues with like are you getting it from the right seller? Are you going to break it if you put the wrong firmware in a certain Saru that you got from a certain seller? Like issues like that. The compatibility problems have improved, but they're still like the games don't play exactly how they would if you were to play it from a disc. And a lot of that is them wanting to make the loading times faster, which is a nice feature to have, but that causes some games to not work right, or for some assets to not load correctly. Like visual things might look odd here and there, or sound glitches will happen here and there depending on what game you're playing and how you're playing it. It's finicky. It's if you're new to Saturn and you're trying to get into the library for the first time, that could be a good cheap way to get into it, but you're probably going to eventually spend more money on a better ODE that boots the rest of the games that you can't play. I don't know. I'm not going to say don't buy it. It's just not something I'd personally get if I didn't have any other option for booting games. So if they had the ability to play burn games off of the Saru, that would probably make it a little better, because then you run into a compatibility problem. You can just burn up a Taio Uden, throw it in, and boom, you're good. But yeah, Saru it's finicky. It's gotten better. It's gotten a lot better since it came out, and it just had a very, very rocky start, and it still has some issues here and there. So yeah, I would encourage people interested in buying an ODE to just do their research on the options, and decide for yourself if you think the issues that Saru still has are worth the cost difference for versus more expensive ODEs. So yeah, if you spend more money, you'll have a better ODE. Fenrir's great. I think Fenrir's probably my go-to like suggestion for people. Satiator's great because it works great. I've had it for a while. It's just more expensive. So, and it requires a little less TLC than a Fenrir.
I mean, is Satiator's status as far as compatibility goes in a good place?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's not going to work with like I think the one or two games that require a video CD card. I think that, I mean, when it came out, it had some compatibility issues with like a few games.
Right.
I don't remember what they
keep
were.
up with it from that point.
But most of those have been fixed. Most of those issues have been fixed since then. So, so it's a good option now.
I mean, is it? I mean, would you say it is worth going for over like a Fenrir if like you just or is there like a little like, well, give a little, take a little between the two?
If you, I mean, the Fenrir, there are ways to install it without replacing your CD drive, but it's still like a more tricky thing to install than throw a cartridge in your video CD slot. It's Satiator is great for dummies, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean that's me. I mean, I don't enjoy messing with flashcards and ODEs in any way that makes me engage with them beyond like the super basics, and even then, like
the Fenrir is the best bang for your buck because you get like basically near perfect compatibility, but you're probably sacrificing your CD drive for it, which some people might not like. If you want to keep your CD drive real bad, Satiator's a good way to go. It's just like expensive. Yeah. So, oh, nice, we got Death Crimson going.
I don't know if this controller needs to be in the controller port 1 or not. Sometimes you can put it in 2, so let's see what happens. Okay, it's letting me do it.
I think it should work, but yeah, like I said, I think most people would agree Fenrir is probably the best bang for your buck. It just requires a little more work to get going. So,
all right. There's a sequel to this on Dreamcast, right?
Yes, and it's actually a decent game.
Is Death Crimson Ox? Is that what it is?
Right. Yeah.
And that came out in the US, didn't it? It got a US.
It did.
This has a look.
Yeah. Composer for this game is active on YouTube to this day.
Really?
His name is Kunitaka Watanabe. And he makes a new upload like once every 2 or 3 days, sometimes more frequent than that, where he'll just like play a song. He's got a million instruments. He's like a very experienced musician. I think he teaches at a college somewhere in Osaka. And yeah, like he recently did a bunch of Beatles songs, and or sometimes it's his own compositions. He'll do live accordion performances and record them on his cell phone and throw them up online. Like he's all over it, man. He's still very active.
I honestly can't decide whether this is supposed to look utterly bizarre or if it just looks utterly bizarre.
Yes.
Both.
Yeah. I don't know.
E-Cole.
I don't know.
I think that's made by E-Cole. All right.
E. coli.
Yeah. That's what it makes me think of, right?
The composer has probably more famously on the internet uploaded videos of himself playing songs from Death Crimson from this game, and he's very energetic. He's got a line that he says at the beginning of every video, which I'll censor slightly. He says, he introduces Death Crimson, and then he says, "The game is effing, but the music is amazing." And then he tears it up and just gets into it. Like it's awesome. He's great. Would highly recommend people look up. I'll type it into the chat just so people know how to spell it.
I've definitely heard the name of this game before, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've actually seen it.
I don't know how I'm getting hit here.
Watanabe.
How am I getting hit? I just feel like I'm.
That's the Death Crimson mystery.
Really? Like that's like no one knows how you actually like survive. Like how am I getting game over? Like there's no feedback whether or not you're getting hit.
Like it looks like
exactly. That's
like
the
these
point.
like missiles or something.
Yeah, but I'm shooting them before they're hitting me. I mean, the whole deal is that the game is supposed to be just a mess, really.
It is kusoge, in its finest form. What do you want to play next? You thinking like something that really pushes the hardware in terms of 3D or 2D, or something that's like really flipping weird, or what's on your mind?
I can go either way.
Okay.
Probably is pushing
Gungriffon. If you got Gungriffon, let's go with that. It's straying from our list, but
that's all right. So would you say that at this point you've played almost every single game on the system in some form or another? At least
not
even
all
just
of
to
them.
Try them.
Don't shoot the flying squirrels, by the way. For some reason, that's bad. I don't know why, but you'll lose health if you do. They're...
Like, hang on,
this game is absolute nonsense.
Let me up the.
I've played a lot of them, but I have not played every single game in any in some form. There's still new surprises that I'm finding here and there. I mean, there's like 1,000 games on the console. There's just so much. There's so much to discover on it. It's awesome. Relatively recently, I got into this game called G Vector, which I hadn't really played before, which is an on-rails 3D game that has similar mechanics to Galactic Attack / Layer Section.
Well, that sounds something like
it's dope. It's hard, but it's really, really fun.
Was that on your list? Can I try that one next?
It is. You can if you want.
Yeah.
You can if you want. You're gonna make the Gungriffon people pretty upset, though.
I'll play it after Gungriffon.
There you go.
I just want to try this one more time because I feel like there's got to be something else to it. Like
with Death Crimson, it's just the ultimate pinnacle of game design, you know.
It's just random whether or not you actually progress, I guess. I feel like it's not registering my shots very well. Is that just me? Is the game like notable for like not being responsive? It doesn't feel like it's being responsive.
No, it's not. Though a lot of the issues are with the game, for sure. You kind of get the hang of its stank after a while, but
you start to like
it takes a lot of getting used to.
Maybe I just I gotta shoot faster. I think that's what I'm thinking.
The characters in white shirts are friendlies.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The rest of it's just game feel at this point.
See, I don't. Maybe the reticles zooming in on them is about to hit you, like Virtua Cop style. Like they're about to hit me.
I'm trying to remember. I think it is, but I can't quite remember for sure. It's been a little bit since
you've made progress. You've gotten further, right?
It's been a little bit since I've taken the kusoge, so I don't quite remember personally.
Music is like, it's like, I can't quite describe it, but it's just it's almost like a circus music in a way.
A little bit. The composer complained about I forget where he posted this or wrote about it, but he complained about the fact that the developers took his compositions and put them to the wrong MIDI instruments, so that's why it sounds the way it does. Part of the fun of the development cycle of Death Crimson.
So is anybody out there trying to actually release the real stuff? I mean, he released the real stuff.
He's released the real stuff. Yeah, on his YouTube channel, he's done a few of them where you hear like, oh, this is what he was going for. So
is it any better? Honestly.
It is. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like listening to Rush.
Okay.
To Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try the second level one more time. I think I got the hang of it a little bit. Drums on synth. Shadow Master saying. I don't want to shoot the blue things then, right? Oh, he said, "Oh no," when I shot it. I don't know. It feels like it's just like
it just never feels right, you know?
Yeah, it just feels like I'm shooting at the screen. It's flashing, but it's not actually like registering the shots. All right.
Like you would think it would be hard to like really screw up a light gun game in some way, you know?
Maybe.
Like,
That's
you know.
They found out how to do it.
yeah.
The people who
Try
made
like,
Virtua Cop like loved this game when it came out.
Really?
And I think they they recognized that it wasn't technically outstanding. Like they knew it was a meme. This has been a meme for a long time.
Yeah.
But they genuinely loved the creative freedom that the developers had with Death Crimson, and I think they were kind of envious of it in a way.
Yeah. Well, so what about that
while they were
sequel that
making
you said
Virtua Cop?
is actually good?
Yeah, the sequel's decent.
Is it a light gun game?
Like
What's it for?
Dreamcast.
It's for Dreamcast. Hang on a second.
And it got a US release. It's called Death Crimson Ox.
Yeah, Death Crimson Ox. It is a light gun game, yeah. Released in arcades, then ported to Dreamcast.
I wonder what these other options are. Let's see what this is. I was just wondering
if I remember correctly,
mode.
It's like some kind of option to synchronize the gun, but if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong here, I don't think it does anything. This thing. So you can try to mess with this, but from what I understand, it doesn't actually calibrate the gun.
I love that.
Shadow Mask put a good reminder in the chat that Death Crimson 2 has been translated by in the scene by Derek, who's done a lot of English translation patches.
And that's on the Saturn. Consoles. Death Crimson 2 is on the Saturn?
Dreamcast.
Oh, okay. So is Death Crimson 2 different than Ox? Oh, PS2 version of Death Crimson is Ox is called. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I got my Death Crimsons mixed up in my head.
I don't know. Like the calibration feels like it's made it a little bit better here.
Did it work?
Maybe.
Okay.
Let's not be too hasty yet. But it feels like it's.
Maybe you got it to work. I've never gotten it to do anything useful.
I think I understand though. Where I have to destroy them before like the reticle like zooms in on them. I don't know if that thing in the upper hand.
Now you need to like put the only like how to play Death Crimson properly video out there.
Oh, whoops. I don't know. That sounds like a lot more work than I'm willing to put in.
Yeah, but you've already cracked the code.
By using the
I was gonna say you're our guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you figured out what PandaMonium could not.
It's like
what this game needs.
Turns out that you actually got to use the calibration for it to work. The game starts uncalibrated, and this fixes it.
Yeah, just press the B button. That's right.
The music is hilarious, though.
Oh my god, it's great. Yeah. it's everything about this game's perfect. just perfect.
Does it make you kind of sad that you're never going to get to do a video on this one?
Oh, I might just do it anyway. I've seriously thought about it. There's like a few Japan-only games that I'd love to make like just a bonus video about, and this is definitely one of them.
What do you think the realistic chances of you like finishing the entire series are?
Pretty real. I would say I might be like 80 years old or something when it's done. It's a great way to ensure that I always have a hobby.
Yes.
Video editing and video production is something I've loved doing for quite a while, since I was a child. So, and this pretty much ensures that I'll have some kind of a hobby project in the world of video that is something I genuinely love doing, and a subject matter that I'm genuinely passionate about. So So it's just good to have, I guess. Even if it does take a while, I'm fine with it. That's great. It's kind of the whole point of it.
So like your day job, do you work like at a TV news place, or do you work?
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
What if they put you on air? You think that that's something that you're interested in? Is like being
on
air? Or are you on air?
I am. Yeah, I am.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's what I went to college for, and been doing it since. So
that's cool. For some reason, I thought that like I didn't think that you were on air, but you've always been on air.
Yep.
That's cool.
When I started out, I originally just wanted to like be behind the camera only.
Yeah.
But it just worked out after an internship while I was in college that they had me go in front of it, essentially, in layman's terms, and then the rest is history. Just snowballed from there and kept doing it. So. And
you just feel like totally natural with it at this point. I mean,
yeah.
Are you like a main like anchor, or do you have like?
Mainly, it's like field reporting. That's
cool,
what I've been doing. Yeah, going out to whatever's going on. So.
Yeah, I beat the stage.
You beat a stage in Death Crimson. Nice.
Now we're going.
That's incredible. Amazing achievement.
That's really cool, though. For some reason I had no idea. Like I didn't realize that was what you're doing. I think that's really, really cool. Because that sounds like very like it sounds stressful, but at the same time, like if it has its days, you strike me as somebody who would probably be like a natural at it, or just like be very good at it. Because I mean, you have very good, like a very good like speaking voice, and you don't have a lot of ums and ahs on the things that you say. You have very concise voices. Like a lot of people give us a hard time, especially like during these streams, about the amount of filler words we sometimes use. It's such a
nitpicky thing to like. It's such a weird thing to be nitpicky about in this platform, though. I don't know. I feel like that's such a not a thing to complain about.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some people think that you can just just stop doing that.
It's just normal conversation.
My brain just doesn't run at
talking
that
works.
pace.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't want to shoot those squirrels.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the squirrels. They never address in the plot of this game why squirrels are friendly.
There's a plot.
Some sort of plot semblance.
There's some kind of a plot. Yeah, it's got something to do with there's 3 doors, and you and 3 other people are like in a cave or something after a war or whatever, and your main character guy picks the red door, which I guess is bad. I forgot what the plot is, but it's weird.
Okay, I'm gonna switch to Gungriffon.
Excellent. Kaku Takara moment. There's a bunch of memes spin off from the plot of Death Crimson.
Oh.
Have you ever had anybody that saw you on the news and like knew you from YouTube?
It's never happened.
It never happens like that.
That is never. It's never happened.
Hope it never does.
Well,
if it does, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a neat thing to happen, but it'll happen when you least expect it.
Right. Yeah. No, that hasn't happened at all. There's people who've like seen me on the news, and then they'll see me at like the grocery store or something.
Yeah,
like that's happened. But
so they know you from the news, not from.
Exactly. Yeah, not from niche Sega Saturn videos.
But you think there's maybe somebody watches one of your videos and like, why do I know this voice? Am I playing Gungriffon the Eurasian conflict or Gungriffon 2?
Either or. The first one is in English. The second one does have a translation patch that's mostly done, but I would just go with the first one.
Okay, so
Southern Sega Gentleman actually did the translation patch for the second game.
Oh.
So yeah.
Who just said, there's a US version. Okay.
There you go.
Cool. It's good to see the Southern Sega Gentleman here because like I know he travels a lot for work, and he
Oh yeah, he's all over the place.
Oh, I forgot this is a Game Arts game. Game Arts. I've only played Blaze, the Gungriffon Blaze, on the PS2.
Yeah, it always throws me when I remember stuff like Alicia Dragoon. Game Arts before all they did was RPGs after a certain point, I think.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, I don't know. Like they did this and Sylphid.
Oh,
the
yeah,
the Lost Planet.
Yeah, I definitely, when
Which
I
is a pretty
first
good
knew
game,
of them,
I think.
though, I only associated with them with, I mean, just kind of like Cave, I only associated them with those, super crazy shooters, and seeing on here, they're like, oh, there's a few, like, polygonal games that they did before then. It's surprising. Same thing with Game Arts. I learned about them from RPGs, and then when I, got Alicia Dragoon, I'm like, wait, what?
They do other things, or not just
It's
not just Lunar
it just
and
didn't seem like be something in
and
their
Grandia.
wheelhouse. I freaking love that game too.
Thank you, Danny Bush. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah,
saying it.
Panda and Wrestling with Gaming are hidden YouTube gems.
Wrestling with Gaming. He did a NBA Jam video recently.
Yeah.
That was really good. It was really, really good. The way that guy does CG effects and graphics in his videos is something else. I don't see that really anywhere.
Yeah.
His research is top notch too, and combine that with the sheer visual splendor he puts into his work. It's it's really good.
both graphics and physically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen him a few times. Actually, when we went to Retro World Expo like years ago, it must have been like 2018 or something like that. We did not have a hotel room on the last night because we scheduled our flight out the day after the convention ended, and they said we don't cover hotel rooms for like the day after. And he was staying an extra day, and he's like, "Oh, you guys can. I booked a hotel room at this other place, and you can stay with us or stay with me."
He really saved our butts.
Really saved our butts, yeah. So we stayed there, and we
awesome.
We all went and ate terrible China buffet together.
Yes, and then we talked about the Sega 32X like half the night.
Yeah, I mean that's like you don't go to China buffet like with the expectation that it's good.
Okay,
that is not the motivation for going.
This is. They start walking, and he doesn't stop walking.
Dad 1153 with a smiling glasses and smiling frog emoticon wants to know who are Panda's favorite YouTube content creators.
Yeah, I've got a few. There's this little known retro channel where with a couple of fun nerds that I like to watch every now and then. What are they called? Like My Life in Gaming or something like that. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. No, for real. Yeah, the Night Trap video that you guys did is like that's a classic. That is a Penguin classic. A must watch. Loved it. I absolutely loved it. I watch a lot of like Digital Foundry, Action Button with good old Timothy Rogers.
Yeah.
His stuff's great.
Do you feel inspired by him a little bit? Because I could see where there'd be a little bit of inspiration. Maybe like in the length of your videos, like the amount of stuff that's in it.
The length of the videos just kind of happened by itself. The length of the videos was sort of an accident. When I originally started, I didn't want to make videos that were longer than 10 minutes, and that obviously stopped being a thing. And once they got longer and longer and longer, they got to like the 2-hour mark, and that's kind of around when I started watching Action Button, and I saw that his videos were like 8 hours, and I'm like, oh, so that must mean this is okay.
Yes, it is okay.
that means this is fine.
I mean, the only thing that's not okay is like the actual act of making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's a lot of folks out there who do similar stuff. Like I'm reviewing every Saturn game in release date order. And there are some people who are doing the same thing for other consoles.
Like
Atari Arc. Atari Archives is doing that with the 2600 or VCS, whatever you want to call it. He's doing release date order for that entire library, and his stuff is really good. Similarly, I think at least used to be a reporter for Associated Press. I think he still might work for them. I don't know.
Cool.
But his stuff's top notch. Blue Bidya game does. He's doing every PS1 game in alphabetical order.
Oh, that's
his work is really good. Cron Cube is doing every GameCube game in release date order. His videos are more short form, but his research is very, very good. He's putting in the work like real hard, and very watchable, very fun videos. He's doing great work on his stuff too. So those are some of the people call it cron gaming.
Yeah,
I think, or cron tubing.
Crontendo,
Jeremy Parrish.
I saw.
Crontendo and Jeremy Parrish are both they've been doing it for a long time. They're both very, very good.
Greg Sewer in Generation 16 also.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. And then I think, what's it, Basement Brothers? Mm-hmm. Are they the ones doing Neo Geo games?
Oh, I didn't know
that. I can't remember. Why I'm blanking on this. I feel bad about that. Other content creators or YouTubers that I watch a lot. Thor High Heels is great. Big fan of their work. I'm just kind of going through the list here.
What about like non-gaming YouTube?
Non-gaming YouTube? That's tough. Pretty much all the YouTube I watch is gaming related.
I mean, that's how it used to be for me, but I find myself I've gotten to like a lot more like camera tech and just like video gear stuff.
Sure. More. Yeah.
So some like music stuff.
Big fan of Summoning Salt. Summoning Salt's good.
Like the speedrun stuff.
Yeah. His I used to watch a lot of the Keith Apicary videos.
Oh yeah,
those were great. Tamara Cade is doing good work. Corey Maru, who I mentioned earlier, does a lot of Sega videos. There's a couple of I'm big into the Spyro games. Mainly just the speedrunning of the first one, and there's a couple of people, Deo Man and Lumi Laura, who are making like videos about the weird inner machinations of that game and some of the speedrun history stuff. So I'm kind of into that. Yeah, I could go on. This question could be answered for the next 30 minutes. I should probably stop now. Pimpo is great too. People should watch Pimpo. Made a Rayman video that's really good.
He does a lot of stuff with you.
That's right.
I always like that name.
Ex Machina Gamma was saying that my IRL name is in the credits of the Night Trap video.
Whose IRL name?
Ex Machina Gamma.
Oh.
I'm unsure if we know who you are that ended up in the credits.
Well, all those we put all the patron names that we had at the time in that video.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Because I mean, we made that like before we were making that. Before like Limited Run was even doing the game.
Right. Well, they kind of.
Yeah, I mean, they happened because of us.
The developer with them.
Yeah.
Right. So.
I don't know if I'm playing this correctly or not, but I feel like I'm doing okay. It's a little bit more tactical and slower moving.
If you're blowing stuff up, then you're playing it right.
Okay. I lost my
make bad guy go boom.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Those are pretty good explosion animations, I have to say.
We see the good marriage of VDP 2 with VDP 1 here, the 2D 3D marriage that Saturn's so good at. We got that infinite plane ground cooking with the quads loading those buildings and enemies and such.
If you're not even doing an infinite plane, what are you even doing?
Right.
So have you Nick? Have you learned a lot about the inner workings of the Saturn just in recent years? Or has that always been kind of a hobby, passion? Just how's it working?
Just gradually over time, kind of through just researching the console and the games and how they work, and just kind of learn more about it. Talking a lot with the homebrew developers, too, just about that, especially like XL2, and then Night of Dragon, Trekkies Unite. They all kind of know a lot about how this thing works. So sometimes I'll consult with them and ask a question, be like, hey, is this correct? And they'll be like, sort of, but say this instead, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's very much, you know, how, you know, we've gotten help from people like Artemio and others. Where, you know, they nudge us in the right direction where it's like, okay, well, this is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how to code. I can't program, but I can understand the basics of, okay, this stuff is being loaded in this display processor. This stuff is operating in this way.
You learn what to look for.
Because X and Y said this. Like, you know, exactly. Yeah, you learn what to look for. You learn what questions to ask when you see a game be, you know, put up on the screen. Mm-hmm. When you know about how like porting it can be done in different ways, and you know you learn, oh, this is what source code means, so now I know how to ask about it, like just real basic stuff, you know,
about Sega losing all kinds of source code for this system.
About Sega just like there was a move that they did, they moved buildings sometime in, like, I think it was 94. The Virtua Cop devs lamented this and told me that move like caused them to lose so much code that they just,
really,
I don't know if they accidentally threw it out or trashed the wrong drives or broke the wrong things, but they lost a lot of source codes in that physical move from a building to building in the early mid 90s. And since then, there were other just either acts of carelessness, or I don't want to say carelessness, maybe just people not thinking it'd be important to keep issues with source codes getting missed. I hope I'm remembering this story correctly. When they ported Virtua Racing to the Nintendo Switch, they had a hard time finding the source code for it, and it turned out that somewhere deep into the, you know, recesses of Sega's HQ, they were able to somehow dig out the source code, not for Virtua Racing, but for Virtua Formula, which is the large physical car that moves with that you get into and move around in front of the Virtua Racing game. They found the source code for that and were able to use that code to basically get Virtua Racing on the Switch in its actual form.
Wow, that's crazy.
There's probably more nuance to that story.
Yeah, but still,
I'm sure I'm not remembering all the details correctly, but yeah, that was like something that they had to do. So, yeah, keep your hard drives, programmers.
Yeah,
keep them in good shape.
Yeah, I think that the lessons has been learned. I mean, wasn't they lost like the source code to like Panzer Dragoon Saga, right? Isn't that like one of the
famously, yeah. It is. I think even if they had it, though, they probably shouldn't use it to make a remake at this point, just because of how archaic it was.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that is a... I mean, it's a great game, but do you feel like it's, I don't know, like overrated?
No. Panzer Dragoon Saga is awesome. And I say this with conviction. Do not buy a copy. Absolutely pirate Panzer Dragoon Saga. Illegally download Panzer Dragoon Saga and play it through illegitimate means. I say this with as boldly and loudly from the top of the mountains as I can. It's just, for some reason, you know, people are okay with spending more than $1,000 on a copy of it. It's just not worth that much money.
I did buy the Japanese version. I mean, I think it's gone up a little bit, but when I bought it was maybe like, I don't know, $30.
The Japanese version's not expensive. It's in Japanese.
Yeah.
So.
And
I got it to make me feel compelled to play through the English version someday, or if I could actually manage to, you know, learn some decent enough Japanese, which I would like to do, but
I'm like trying to learn it, but I'm like not, you know, I'm not even close to fluent.
Well, it seemed like your pronunciations are pretty good, like in videos. I mean,
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting
I mean,
it.
I don't know.
Well,
like,
they have to be, or else people are going to crucify you, as we well know. I mean,
Oh yeah.
You're allowed any other foreign language, you're allowed to have an accent, but Japanese, as soon as it's Japanese, people are like, "Oh,
The gloves
you're
come
doing it
off.
wrong.
It's
You're not
over.
allowed to. You're not allowed to speak this language with an accent because it's Japanese." And it's we're holding up on this pedestal.
But to back to Panzer Dragoon Saga is definitely worth playing. I think it's a very, very good game. It's a beautiful game, and it's quick too. It's not a RPG. It's not an RPG that'll take you a million hours to beat. It's like you can knock it out in 15.
yeah, and
that's like with slow pacing. That's with taking your time, and you're still getting a fantastic story out of it. The art direction's outstanding. And it's what Pimpo has described as being a Sega Saturn game, in that the way it uses VDPs 1 and 2 to render everything. It marries the two display processors very well, while also having some kind of 5th gen stank to its look that comes off as intentional. That comes off as like they did this to make the game look this way, to add to the desolate nature of it, I guess.
Yeah. I played through disc 1.
Super good
on it, and disc 1 is like the first time you play it.
Yeah, you get a lot out of disc 1. It's got a lot of the stuff that makes it ooze goodness. I would definitely recommend playing through the whole thing at some point. Do you have Anarchy in the Nippon?
Is that what it's called? Anarchy? And I'm sure I do.
Oh wait. Oh, what game are you trying to?
I wasn't looking for anything. I was just looking
okay.
at this, see what is the Anarchy in the.
Oh, it's got a weird name. It actually starts with a G. Hang on, I forgot what word it starts with. It's Goiken Muyou, Anarchy in the Nippon. So the first letter should be GOI. Oh, you've got it. I see it up there. Goiken Muyou.
There it is.
Under Godzilla. Yep.
Got it.
This is a 3D fighting game. I think this was made by
KSS.
I want to say that there were some Virtua Fighter people involved with this, but I'm not 100% sure. What I can tell you is that in addition to the cast of like school teachers and salarymen that you can play as, and rowdy students and whatnot, there are also secret characters who are real-life competitive Virtua Fighter players from the time, and their move sets are their mains. So like there's a competitive Sarah Bryant player, and his moveset is just Sarah Bryant's punches and kicks and stuff.
And they didn't get in trouble for that?
I guess not. I suppose they didn't.
It's funny. I mean, that makes me think of Rival Schools, kind of like the way that it's like, just.
It's very similar. Yeah.
Anarchy in the Nippon. Oh, look at this! Like I'll just choose the top option, I guess. Top option. It's
too much kanji.
Yeah.
I wonder whose thumbprint is on that title screen.
It's a good question.
Oh, I didn't mean
but
to
yeah.
will,
So if you go off of the character select screen and keep going left and right, you'll see what I'm talking about with the competitive fighting game, or the competitive Virtua Fighter players being like in the game.
So, you can just keep on going. Oh, look at
yeah.
That's what it says. Their photos. That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
This guy is a real interesting looking guy. I feel like I need to play as this guy. I mean, he looks like a cartoon, a real cartoon, a human cartoon.
He really does. Just a handsome guy, I forget which Virtua Fighter character his moveset's based on. I want to say that's Jeffrey. I might be wrong.
Jeffrey McWild.
I win.
So
that's one of my favorite character names. We used to always like, oh no, it looks like, I feel like that might be Pi.
Oh, you might be right.
Because Pi was the character I used the most.
Is it just the stream compression, or like it
might be
like
It might be the mode that I'm using, because it's not like the.
Well,
it's.
I was just gonna say it looks like it almost looks like the textures on the characters are filtered, but like maybe it's just it might just be the stream compression, or just they might just be high enough resolution to where it almost tricks me into thinking that they are.
I don't know. Like, I think that I have it on this. I don't know, like on the specific Saturn profile on the Retro Tank. That I don't know. It's look at his face is on there though. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know, like the texturing just looks good. I mean, I'm not criticizing the stream feed at all. I'm just saying, like, I can't quite figure out what's going on with the textures, because they look like the way these models look and the texturing on them just looks, I think, pretty high quality and different from what you would see on, say, PS1.
It's very good. Like, this is up there with the 3D fighting genre on Saturn as far as the way it looks. Like, I'd say this, Last Bronx, Dead or Alive, probably some of the best looking 3D fighters in the console. And Virtua Fighter 2, of course, is pretty high up there. But yeah, Anarchy and the Nippon is not a slouch, that's for sure. It's very goofy. The principal in this game, or maybe he's just a salaryman, I don't know what his role is, but he's got a move where he like ducks under the opponent's legs and like makes a funny laugh as he like sneaks under them and comes up from behind and punches them in the back and such. Like, it's great.
I don't think I can send you any like sound my soundboard that I have that I like sometimes use. I haven't used it very often anymore, but like one of my favorite soundboard sounds that I don't think anybody else uses it is the Sarah Bryant saying, "Even good guys blow it." Oh, you know, like her.
That's a good one. Her laugh.
Yeah. When I was in high school, we used to just think that was the funniest thing. I had two
one of my
friends
favorite
who had Saturns like in the last I guess 2 years of high school. That's when it came out.
Oh, right on. One of my favorite sound effects, and I use this in videos a lot. It's from Virtua Fighter. It's the sound that Dural makes when she like does like a grab move. There's like a clong, like a big clung sound that happens against Dural. Yeah, this guy's the man. This like Hank Hill looking son of a gun. Like, he's awesome.
He's tearing you up too.
Yeah. For a second there.
He's the guy that goes. He's the one that goes under the legs with the right combo.
So I know that you Nick, you did like a review of kind of like a mini review of the Virtua Cop Rebirth in your Virtua Cop video. Did you do anything with the because I don't feel like I've seen if you've done like a Virtua Fighter 1. Have you done a Virtua Fighter 1 video?
It's technically the first game was ported to Saturn as its pack-in game,
right?
And that was the first episode of the series.
Okay.
And that was back when my videos were very short and didn't have as much research put into them as they do.
Do you feel like there's something you might revisit because of stuff like that?
I think absolutely. I revisited Bug already after getting an interview. I really want to revisit Daytona Clockwork Knight. Mm-hmm. I really, really want to revisit Blackfire, the really bad helicopter combat game. Right. Mainly because that was one of the three Tiger Team games that Sega of America spearheaded before the Saturn launched. Bug, Gen War, and Blackfire were those three. And I got interviews for Bug and Gen War, but I was not able to get an interview for Blackfire. Unfortunately, one of the lead programmers is no longer with us for Blackfire, and the other ones were people who I couldn't get in touch with. But I'm kind of re-sparking my efforts to get in touch with folks who worked on Blackfire to talk about what happened with that game.
It was not an acclaimed game, right? It was not Eidos. Was it Eidos?
Blackfire was not. I don't think it was. No, that was. Hang on. I'm gonna look it up just so I make sure I get it right. It was Nova Logic.
Okay.
I know for sure it was Nova Logic. Hang on, looking it up here. Yeah, developed by Nova Logic and the Sega away team, which basically just means that it was part of that Tiger team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The reason I was asking because in comparing
It's published by Virgin, but developed by Nova Logics. Just to clarify from what someone in the chat said, Virgin published it.
I like that the back of the building says Gase on it in the Sega font. It's funny.
Do you ever use your day job credentials to try to convince people to accept an interview with you?
I have mentioned it in like my pitch emails to potential interviewees. Like, I always start with, "Hey, this is who I am. This is what I do on my YouTube channel. I also do this as a full-time job."
Right.
Probably just so that when they look me up and they see that, they're not like, "Oh, who's this other guy with the exact same name?" Like,
right.
And it hopefully that also adds some oomph to my request to talk to them.
You know, can't hurt.
But yeah, exactly.
Hang on, I'm just rebooting the game.
Okay.
What was the name of the rail shooter you're talking about that you're like into?
Oh yeah. G Vector.
G Vector.
It's okay. Japan only, so it'll probably be in your Japan folder.
Well, the reason I was asking about that because I was wondering what your thoughts were on the PS2, like the Virtua Fighter 10th anniversary version.
Oh yeah. I played it a little bit, but not enough to like give it a good critique. I mean, it's good. It's I think a competent way to play the first Virtua Fighter game. Mm-hmm. It's certainly better than the Saturn port of Virtua Fighter 1, which is still good gameplay wise, but it had a lot of issues with its visuals. The PS2 is just like accurately portrays the blocky wooden block looking, human models that were used in the arcade original.
Yeah. I
think the best way to play the first Virtua Fighter though is to just fire up the model or fire up the emulator and get it going through there. That's just kind of the way to go in my opinion. Or to find a cabinet, which is impossible now, but
so this is like a 3D version of Galactic Attack. Like even just like
exactly.
the lock on lasers.
100%. Yep, that's exactly what it's like.
Is this an expensive game? I feel like I already want it.
Let me look it up. Let me see what the old price charting says here.
I mean, this is like exactly the kind of thing that I like.
So it looks like if you want to buy a complete copy of G Vector, you'll be looking at spending roughly $252.
Oh, okay, well that's
yeah. Sorry, pal.
I'll play it like this. That's fine. The music's pretty good too.
Oh yeah, it's good.
This definitely looks like it scratches that.
That rail shooter, like Space Harrier.
That rail shooter itch.
Third-person shooter.
Yep. I kind of see this as the solution to Saturn not really getting an Afterburner game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the ground moves a little slower than Afterburner, but it's pretty close.
Yeah,
it got a port of Afterburner too.
Yeah,
but it's not
which is a great version. I mean, for the longest time, that's like the only one that you could get. That's like the only 60 FPS, basically arcade perfect version. Even compared to the 32X, because those look good. The 32X ones were good, but they were 30 FPS.
And they didn't really make an Afterburner game for the Saturn that was like catering to the Saturn's hardware. They could have done that, and they really should have.
Yeah.
This sort of scratches that itch a little.
Yeah.
It's kind of got some Thunder Force vibes to it too.
Yes. Yeah. That's
I hate to be the guy being like, it's like if Thunder Force and Layer Section had a baby, but
it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Exactly.
Like even like the laser, where it shows like how many like lasers you can shoot, like that looks like almost like it was ripped straight out of Galactic Attack or.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it definitely seems to be inspired by Ray Force / Galactic Attack / Layer Section / Gunlock.
Yeah. I
Is there
like
another
it.
game with 4 names.
Well, you know what's funny about this is you almost feel like you hear that name, and the name makes it sound real generic. Like you would not expect it to be like this kind of game, I guess.
Right, yeah, G Vector doesn't exactly sell what this is.
I mean, I was hoping for something that kind of looked like a vector monitor game.
Yeah, like a Vectrex or a Virtual Boy looking thing.
Yeah.
Some kind of Red Alarm looking shooter.
Yeah. I like it.
It's a fun oddity on the Saturn. I really dig this game. It's kind of hard, but like it's fun. It's a good time.
Yes. Forgot to hit the record on my my Ninja over here, so I just did it. This is something I would want to, just good to have archived. Although, it's like I'm almost dead here. And it's
Someone
really
in the
just
chat
like
says-
a 2-button game. Like it looks like there's no.
Oh yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. Someone in the chat says Sky Target if it was good, and I think that's a pretty accurate statement here.
I do have Sky Target, but I've not really played it that much. I just felt like
It's not that it's okay. It's not a game I'd recommend.
So do you play like many like modern games though?
Sometimes it depends. I've been it depends on what you define as modern. Lately, I actually recently beat Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered on PC.
Oh, okay.
Got gold in all the races and such, which that was a great Need for Speed game. It has a lot of the elements that made other Need for Speed games great. Like it has the Hot Pursuit mode, which is the best thing that series has ever done.
Yeah. There's been like
the classic exotic luxury cars from classic Need for Speed, but the drifting and boosting mechanics from Need for Speed Underground in the gameplay. And it also has almost some burnout elements to it with how you can get more boosts for near misses and how the crashes operate and such. Like it was a lot of fun. As a Need for Speed fan, it was a lot of fun. If you're looking for a real life racing sim, you should not play it.
Well, wasn't this one? Was that one made by? It was made by Criterion, right? Who made Burnout games? The remake was, because I know.
I believe it was, yeah.
Because Need for Speed 3 is Hot Pursuit also. Like there's like several Hot Pursuits.
Yeah,
like,
there's a bunch of them. You're right.
They keep on. They go back to it because they know it's the best one.
Yeah, it was developed by EA, Criterion,
Okay.
Exient, DICE, according to Wiki. So maybe it's wrong. I don't know.
No, I would assume that's.
But yeah, I'm hoping
sounds
that's correct.
right.
I've also been playing Earth Defense Force 4.1, which is, I think, almost 10 years old now. But yeah, that game's been great. I love it. You're doing yourself a disservice if you don't make your teammates shout EDF every 5 seconds while playing that game. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
Is that the one I have?
Yes, this is the PS4 one.
I have a hard time keeping.
I didn't realize that there was like even like already a 5 and 6 out. Like 6 just came out, and I didn't even.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Like I was playing EDF4, being like, man, maybe I should check and see what 5 is like, and then I saw 6. I was like, oh, so there's a 6th EDF game? Mixed reviews. People don't like it. Okay. Huh?
Well, yeah. How do you make it so that people don't like it? How do you screw it up? I don't know.
You can't screw up EDF.
The fact of the matter is, like, that. I mean, I put very little stock in reviews anyway, but that's like the kind of game where it's like the number of people who are going to play EDF and like appreciate it for what it is, I think is probably fewer than the people that would look at it and just be like, oh, this is janky.
We love you, Mark Bustler.
So,
yeah.
The right person to review a game is the person that it's for,
Yeah.
Mark Bustler
they
was the person who EDF was made for.
Yes.
And he was the right man for the job.
Yeah.
Same with Truxton.
Yeah, you had a little. You used him when you mentioned trucks, and you used a
I did.
video clip of him.
Clipper.
Yeah.
I was worried because he was playing it on a Raiden cab, like it was Truxton, but I was on a Raiden exterior, so I was worried someone in the comments would be like, "Hey, he's playing Raiden." I don't know if you saw, but
people would
people
know.
got it. People understood it. People understood it. So I was like, "Okay, good. Okay, good.
We should have him
he
on
was
stream
playing Truxton.
sometime. We met him. We got to hang out with him at last year in Nashville. We were at a convention that he was
Really?
at. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I mean,
he's the OG.
He didn't really he didn't know who we were, but then we had a booth right next to him, so we became friends over the course of the weekend.
Nice,
And,
that's awesome.
It was his first time kind of getting back into the scene too.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch other YouTubers from what he said in a past interview.
It's just very interesting because he's been doing this stuff before YouTube even existed.
Exactly.
He was doing it on cable access and stuff like that. It was pretty. It's just very interesting to hear his stories, and I could understand his frustrations with it. Seeing how everything has changed, and just how all the stuff that he's tried to do and thinking it would work, and it just feels like he's constantly getting screwed over,
constantly
some way
pushing
or
uphill. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel for him. I think that a lot of people give him flack for just giving up several times, and he takes long breaks, and then he comes back, and then he takes a long break again. But he's just a guy trying to
pin down something that's impossible to pin down, really.
Yeah, right.
Like a medium that's impossible to figure.
He's already made 2,000 reviews. What more do you want him to do at this point, right?
Yeah,
if he makes more videos, great. I'll watch them, but don't complain if he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan11531 wanted to know. I assume directed at Panda. Saturn.
Oh yeah.
Hate and dread making YouTube video for.
So there are not many Saturn games that I actively dislike. There are really not that many at all that I would not want to make a video about, or that I'm not looking forward to playing, because I find joy in a lot of bad games. It's fun to play bad games. There is one though that I really don't want to play at all and make a video about because it's so bad, and that is the Saturn port of Alone in the Dark 2: One-Eyed Jack's Revenge. It is the worst Sega Saturn game I have ever played. It is just.
Is it worse than Rise 2?
Yes.
Resurrection?
I would have. Yes, it is less fun than playing Rise 2. The controls are of the era, so I can't complain about them too much, but the frame rate's real bad. The pacing of it, the lack of ability to react to bad things happening to your main guy. I just cannot. I cannot have a fun time playing it. I cannot enjoy it.
Are other versions
so
of the
bad.
game considered good? I mean, it's not something it's not a game I've ever really looked into.
It's Resident Evil before Resident Evil. That's really all.
Well, I mean, I know Alone in the Dark 1.
Right.
I don't know Alone in the Dark 2.
One-Eyed Jack.
Better versions. There are playable versions of 2. There are playable versions of Alone in the Dark 2, and the Saturn version is not it. It is it goes out of its way to be unplayable. It's god awful. Yeah, that's the one I look forward to the least, for sure. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
everything else is fine.
You might have to get some interviews to make it tolerable.
I think I might.
But at the same time,
Crow,
trashing it. So.
Well,
exactly. Even the Crow, I look forward to reviewing the Crow.
City of
That's
Angels.
a famously bad yes, that's a famously bad Saturn game. People often cite that as being the worst one, but no. Alone in the Jack 2 is the worst game.
Maybe Corey should play the Crow. Have you ever played the Crow, Corey?
No.
Don't play it on.
Yeah,
no, don't.
I'm not gonna waste. Don't waste anybody's time. I mean, the Crow is the original. The Crow, the movie, the first one, is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's it famously shows up, but anytime we talk about video stuff, like movie video, I always show it because I love to. I don't know. I really love that movie. But what I think is interesting about that, though, and this was very much the case, and I think it kind of goes back to a comment that I saw on your new video, on the Touge King video, saying it's cool because like you spend so much time like making a video on these games that you really figure out how to play it better than most reviewers ever would. You know, you just like that's what happened with this is that you like, you know, you could just been like, oh, it controls like this, blah blah blah, but then like half the video is about your journey of discovering like here's how you really play it, and then you know like and you what I what I thought was really cool, and I meant to bring this up earlier, is that you know like by doing all this research, you find out all this stuff like the 4-player mode stuff. You found that did you was that discovered because you had seen it mentioned so many times?
That was actually discovered by a guy named Bo Bales, who does a lot of diving into the data of these games.
But did you go to him and say, "Hey"?
No, he found it independent of the reviews.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, I think he found it right before or during the Shiro challenge for Touge King, where we all competed against each other for a month. It was within close proximity of that. But no, he found that totally independent. I've occasionally asked him to like dig for stuff in games and such, but that I found the reviews mentioning 4-player after he discovered the 4-player mode in the game, and I was like, oh geez, they're actually kind of onto something. Like the Japanese articles saying, hey, this game's going to have 4-player in it. Are you playing the best digital pictures game ever made?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah. So this is a great video game. This is like Trap, but it's football.
Yeah. Is this before or after the Scottie Pippen game?
I believe it's after. I think it's after Slam City. Because Slam City was a Sega CD joint, and this was made. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
it was
this
on
was made
both.
after that.
Was it on Sega CD? This might
Quarterback Attack?
No, I don't think it was it?
Let me check.
I don't remember. I don't think it is, but
I don't think so either, but I could be wrong here. I think it was just Saturn and 3DO, that's it. And then technically the Android.
Yeah. Watch this. It makes me feel like I'm going to have a heart attack and just and cough up an entire half a chicken.
Is
PC.
there like a CD version of this?
Nope, there is not. PC, 3DO, Saturn, and Android.
I saw Land of Obscusion saying, I wonder what wild and zany ideas Panda has for his eventual video for D. I mean, he'd have to do Kenji Ino proud. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Kenji Ino would be such an interesting person to talk to, and it's such a shame.
It is a shame. Yeah. I'm grateful that he was well known enough in his heyday to have been interviewed several times while he was making games. I'm very grateful for that there were people in Japan who cared enough about these games as they were being made to very carefully document their creation. Not just the big name heavy hitters, but also the lesser known games, the weird mahjong games, the basically indie games that some of these other devs were making, and the really artistic stuff that Kenji Eno was working on. Play on the easiest difficulty, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I chose
good.
Junior. Is that right?
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, I really liked D. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it was a pretty interesting game. Actually, for the games we played in 2024, the game that I wrote the most for was D2, which not necessarily the game I liked the most of the year, but I just felt like there was no way to talk about without saying a lot.
Right.
Man, that game is strange.
I don't know if I'm doing this right. Do I got to hit a direction? Oh, there we go. It's one of the shoulder buttons.
Yeah, so I'm trying to rapid remember in my head how this game is played too. I think you just toss it to the guy in the back, but that seems to be going okay for you. You gained some yardage there.
The face grate is so funny, or whatever the heck that is called.
Yeah.
The what? The face, the mask.
The face grate, like the grates. Like
yeah. Well, it's
I
a,
don't know
it's a
what
face.
you call it.
It's a face.
I'm
face
not a
mask.
football guy.
Oh, look at this. What do I got to hit the throat? Whoa! I got sacked.
And then it's one of the face buttons. There's like
Nice move, Blanco Nino.
I
Too bad
think
your
it's
ass got sacked.
I forget which row of face buttons you press to get to the the red, green, and yellow line that you're seeing there. It's either the top row of face buttons or the bottom to like pick one. I can't remember. Looks like you're going for it though. Hell yeah, get him.
Uh-oh.
It's been too long since I played quarterback attack with Mike Ditka.
Do you think they thought they were making like the best football game ever?
Yes.
Or not? You do think they did?
I think they thought that. I mean, they were working in a time where there was no like super duper clear cut standard for the future of video games, and they thought that by making film into video games in this way that they were carving a pathway into the future of this medium. I genuinely believe that's what they were thinking. That's what they had said, and that is the attitude that they lived by when making these. And of course the attitude their budgets lived by. They spent millions of dollars making games like this. Like I think the budget for this game was somewhere north of $1 million. Like
throw, come on. I'm just hitting the buttons. They had to fill this stadium.
Yeah, I know.
It's cardboard.
No, really? It looks convincing.
It's cardboard
Well,
cutouts.
I guess when it's like they knew that it was just going to be. I mean, that's that's a lot. That's a lot of cardboard.
That had to cost something.
Oh, literally, that is cardboard. There's like a couple of like occasional shots where you see one or two people in the front of the stands, like throwing a couple fists in the air and things like that. But yeah, like it's cardboard cutouts with different shirts and sweaters painted on. It's the same 2 or 3 faces too.
But to fill a stadium with that, like that's got to be kind of expensive, actually.
I'm sure, and like the amount of labor that would require. I mean, that's a lot.
Is it even worse than just getting people in there?
I know, like
Right.
it does. It sounds like
I think you could just go to the college that's next door to this field and be like,
it.
hey.
How do I? Oh, I got it. I
Because
had
you
to
want to be
use
in a
the shoulder
video
button.
game.
Yeah, Ditka.
This is Ditka giving you some grief there.
I think it's going deep and okay. So it just like runs the other person's plays. You don't have to play defense in this at all.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't play defense whatsoever. They just it's kind of random how well the other team does. I think.
Is it always brown or red versus yellow? Is it always the same two?
It is always red versus yellow. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, how else could you do it? Really?
I think their team name is the Cardinals in game, but their mascot is a guy in a big chicken suit.
That's amazing.
Is the quarterback like injured or something like that? Because it looked like his arm was in a.
Yeah. The main quarterback is he's hurt real bad. So you, the rookie, you're their only hope. So you gotta bring your team to victory.
What I think can someone hack this game so that it hack in Foo Fighters' My Hero into this game? Sorry, if you ever seen Varsity Blues, where it's all it's time to win the game, and then starts playing
Football hit that guy in the back.
Yeah,
I love the reaction that the guys have when you hit them in the back. They're like, "Dude, what are you thinking? Come on!" Like, it's hilarious. Such a good game.
Come on, get it.
Yeah, there is no music in this game, Shadow Mask.
Although it needs.
Could you even imagine the alternate universe we could live in where like the annual Madden is instead the annual quarterback attack?
Mike Ditka's staying power in video games, like if he took over, yeah, that'd be great. It'd just be hilarious. We need more Mike Ditka press conferences. We don't have enough of those in today's age of sports.
Come on, what?
And I don't watch sports a whole lot ever, but like I don't know, Mike Ditka was a real life character that we don't get anymore.
Yeah. And like a lot, like not being like anywhere close to Chicago, like my main knowledge of him was because of those SNL skits,
Right.
which are still funny, I think.
My main knowledge of him spurred from researching stuff about this game. And then I found out about Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell. Oh, hey, you guy got it.
Finally. I don't. You know what? I think this game's kind of awesome. I kind of love it.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. It actually kind of works.
Yeah. I mean, it's not horrible. Like you would imagine.
It could have been so much worse.
Yeah.
Is it expensive?
I bet it's not. I bet it's like not expensive at all.
I mean, if it's only released in America, there's a risk.
Oh.
I recently bought it for $10 complete.
Oh, okay.
At a store. Yeah, brick and mortar. So it's
after
pretty
the
affordable.
stream, it's going to go up though. So you better get
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm kind of liking it. It's not horrible. Like you would think that this would never work. I never played like the boxing one either, but
the boxing one's pretty bad. I couldn't get the hang of it. Prize fighter.
Go!
I couldn't get the hang of it.
It's like it shows the same clips several times.
Once you get good at it, you start to recognize the repeat clips.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it just kind of gets old and boring.
Yeah.
But like as a spectacle of wow, this thing actually exists and it kind of works. Like that makes it a pretty fun game alone.
There's been that same clip 3 times.
Yep.
It's gonna be a touchdown. He's getting sacked by the same guy every time. He's gotten sacked 3. Like how am I not close to the end line here?
You can see it at the bottom left hand. You can see how close you actually are to the end of the field.
All right, let's go.
Mr. Do, I would argue that arm animation is in fact not great, but that might make it great.
Should have asked. I've bought a few games after MLiG streams, and this one. How many people are going to buy this one? Because I don't know. Is there a Japanese version of this?
Nope. Yeah, this was exclusive to the North America.
On all platforms. You said it's also on 3DO?
Just 3DO and Saturn and PC. The PS1 did not get a port. I believe they intended to port this to the PS1, but it did not happen.
Seems like it could have done okay.
Oh. I need to score. I need to score a touchdown. That's all I care about.
So someone in the chat brought this up. Corey, what's your favorite game so far this stream that you played today?
Probably the G Vector, but this is.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is like it's a close second right now. Go! Come on. Yes!
Nice. Got him.
I've done it.
See if you can nab the field goal. Wow, the cheerleaders love you. The chicken mascot loves you.
And is that the owner that's down there?
I think so. Yeah, the owner of your junior varsity football team. So I think it's like by chance, but the chance increases depending on how close you are to the end line. So you'll probably get it. Yeah, there you go.
It's good. Let me just finish this quarter. It's nice that you don't have to play defense. They probably like, how do you even do it? How do you make that work?
Yeah.
So they're just like, let's just do it, and then they like scored like immediately.
Sometimes they don't.
No, they just
yeah. No, they're going for a field goal. It looks like they made it. Okay.
Yeah.
They just got the 3.
So wait, is it just playing this out and you can't control it?
Right. You just watch it, and then,
That's right.
So does it randomize it though? Like what?
Yeah, it's a
what
dice
kind
roll
of
basically.
score they get?
How many mimosas would it take before my wife enjoys this? I don't think that there's any amount that she could ever drink that would make her have fun with this.
You are not putting enough faith into the magic of digital pictures, Corey. Well,
Yeah, it's not a video game anymore.
right? Yeah, exactly.
It it's
This is an
media that now transcends you know,
I'm so
all
glad. Like,
levels of interest.
yeah, I think that it would be great if you could like put it some of the like the Madden sounding like 16-bit hits in there, like ooh, oh, and do the HB toss Z rev go.
What's the new
it's gotta be.
baseball game on Saturn?
Is that is it big?
Hurt?
Yeah, that's like the
Big
most.
Hurt.
Is like the US version is like the most expensive game on the system in the US or something. Like
No,
that.
really?
Or the rarest game, right?
Wait, which game?
Like Frank Thomas's Big Hurt baseball.
No, that's not the rarest US game. The rarest is Daytona USA Championship Netlink Edition.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, but Frank Thomas Big Hurt, I don't think that's like
I thought that was like, or was that like the last? No, that was not the last game either. What is it with that game that like makes it like hard to find though?
Frank Thomas Big Hurt.
Yeah.
That's pretty cheap. It's affordable.
Oh.
I remember Audie bought a copy of that for some system. It might have been 3DO. I remember he bought it when we were game shopping
Oh.
year or two. I think it was actually that video that we did that pickups video on.
Okay. Okay.
This might be the game where there's a Saturn game where they had to Sharpie over something on the manual or the back art individually
Oh my
for
god.
each print. I don't think it might have been Frank Thomas. I'm blanking on which game this happened to. It was definitely a US release though, and I think it was a sports game. I want to say it was Acclaim. I just can't remember which one. Dude, Acclaim was they were definitely a video game company.
Well, the guy that was on the stream with us, when we had when we had Argonaut on, also like worked for Acclaim. That might be a good in for you if you need anything.
Might be a good lead.
He worked on like a Die Hard trilogy.
Oh, right on. Okay.
So maybe
Well,
that could be like a
chat with
good.
them.
Yeah, like we should connect you to him.
Yeah,
He worked for Acclaim during that specific time. So
Sorry
Nice.
sorry for overlooking this. There was a $2 super chat for the love of the game 14 minutes ago. Sorry, I think we just all got so mesmerized by digital pictures football. It's the most mesmerized I've perhaps ever been by the sport.
For the Love of the Game is a longtime
honest.
viewer of Panda related videos. So happy to see that this person in the chat.
Anyway, for the love of the game, wanted to know, what do you think of Side Pocket 3?
Needs more Minnesota fats, much like how Valora Valley Golf needs more Craig Stadler. Similar problem. Other than that, I mean, it's a competent billiards game. Side Pocket games were it's just billiards, but they did a good job at being billiards games. So, yeah, should have had Minnesota Fats or some other weird, New Yorker personality pool celebrity, like in weird FMVs.
go. I just need one. Doing the same play as I did last time, apparently. Did I get it? No? I'm just going for it. I mean, why not go for it, right? Every single time. Like, why do you don't have to take it serious?
I mean, maybe the dice roll has a better chance of doing something in your favor.
Oh! Gosh darn it.
On one of the others.
If you get sick of this and you got time for one more, you have if you have Delisoba Deluxe.
Oh yeah, I should. That's the
Okay,
one that you said does not have the. I didn't realize it was 11 o'clock. I'm just like staring at this game, like
Oh my god.
I'm like, I love this.
Delisoba,
I'll be right back.
as in like a deli shop and soba noodles.
So this is a port of a game show. And by that I mean it is a. I'm just kind of double checking the info here. There's a game show in Japan called Tokyo Friend Park, where one of the games, Delisoba, had the celebrity contestants command a virtual motorcycle to deliver soba to the TBS studios.
Wow.
So this is a port of that game show.
Are they trying to make
the Sega Saturn?
Oh, okay. So is it? I was thinking this was an American game, so but it's
no, very
I was
Japanese.
thinking they were like
very,
trying
very
to make a very foolhardy attempt at trying to Americanize this concept.
This game was never sold. It was instead given to people who went to the show, either audience members or contestants.
Wow.
So it's extremely rare because it was never actually sold. But thankfully, some kind soul dumped this to the internet a while back, and now we get to play it.
Was it a long time before it came about?
I don't know. I'm not sure how long it took before it got dumped. I'm sure it took some time. And another fun fact: this is made by Cave. So we're back to Cave. Yes, back in the Cave on this one.
Now, and it really has their actual logo in it too.
Put some flair into it. So I'll just
like TBS, like the station, like the.
That's right. Yeah. Hell yeah, baby. Just go to Game Start. TV Original is the way to go.
All right.
B is accelerate. A is brake.
And that's all you need to know.
Yep. That's it.
It's like Road Rash.
Yeah.
Without the punch in. Oh, so you're just like delivering this? You just.
Yep.
Dude, this is awesome.
You're delivering this. Yeah.
It's really smooth.
Yes, it's really smooth.
Oh yeah. I mean, Cave made it. No, it's a real live dev house.
And really, is it just like the whole thing is you just get as far as you can without crashing?
This is the game. This is the whole thing. There's an endpoint, but yeah.
When do you deliver?
You're delivering noodles.
Yeah.
No, but when?
When you get all the way to the end.
When you get to the end, there's a little mini map at the bottom. Oh, don't hit the cows. Yeah, they get mad. When your red line gets to the far right end of that map.
Whoa, it's like intense.
That's when you get to the end.
You probably gotta use your brakes some.
Yeah, and when you run out of time, it just switches drivers, so you get like an additional amount of time to get to the end. If you screw up too much.
See, I know Corey's just thinking Road Rash, but I've got Cruising USA music in my head.
I thought Outrun when I saw it. I was thinking Outrun, but instead of a crimson red Ferrari Testarossa, you're a noodle moped, noodle delivery.
That's
moped.
probably the closest to like what it's. Oh man, I really wiped out that time. It does look like it could be an endless runner. And that makes me think who wants to make an endless runner that just looks like this? Because I would absolutely love that. Just make an endless runner that has these graphics in it.
I would play it.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally play that on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to look exactly like this and be like 4:3.
We need to get Cave to port this to mobile phones.
Yes,
this exact game,
and just make it go on forever.
Yeah.
Player change ready. 3, 2, 1. So is it basically impossible to lose? Truly.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, you'll almost certainly win. I think you'd have to be pretty bad to lose Delisoba Deluxe.
I don't want to jinx myself now. So this is just something that they were hired to do, and you said it was like how is this available? Like it was like a game, like a free game or something?
This was given to contestants of the game show and audience members as like a gift. They just gave them away to them if they showed up. It was not sold at all, so there was no way to buy this in the heyday of Delisoba Deluxe. So
that's crazy.
Now that was a part of the show, or was it?
This was what we're seeing here is a recreation of part of the actual real life game show.
What did you say the show was called?
The show is called Tokyo Friend Park.
Tokyo Friend Park.
Yep. So yeah, and that's Delisoba Deluxe.
I'm gonna play it again. Is there, like, what is the coin links? Is that like a?
I can't remember. There's also a map editor too, which is kind of
cool.
funny. The map editor, like, surprisingly very in depth. You can change.
I mean, they probably made that part first, and then just made the level based on that.
I think so. Yeah, and the map editor is all in Japanese, very sloppily put together UI. So
I love these coins a lot.
Yeah,
those are good coins.
They are.
Those are very chunky coins.
I like how they spin, like not exactly on like the vertical axis.
Yeah, they look like they're pre-rendered.
Well, of course, but like they are a top tier pre-rendered coin.
Yes. Of all the billboarded sprite coins I have seen, this would probably be in the top 5.
They are up there, yeah.
Like Mario Pinball Land billboarded sprite coins, pretty good. Good.
I don't think
But this, oof, this is up there, baby. This is way up there.
I don't know. This might be the best game I've played all night. It is like exactly something that it just appeals to me specifically.
Nice.
You know, it's just
nice. I'm glad we made some time for it.
I mean, this is way better than those like on the PlayStation, like the 2 Extreme games.
Oh yeah.
This is so much.
Those
better
games
than
are
that.
trash.
Mm-hmm. How does this compare to Pepsi Man?
Pepsi Man is probably a cut above.
Yeah.
But Delisoba Deluxe isn't quite the same. It's a little different. You know, it's a different thing.
I mean, Pepsi Man's more of like it's almost like a variety kind of game. Like there's like a lot of random stuff happening in it. This is just good old fashioned gameplay, pure gameplay, 2-button gameplay. You know, all you need to do is I haven't even touched the brake. You just gotta let off the gas sometimes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to revise your script to make this your game of the year?
Yeah, this is definitely GOTY material right now.
I got to do a video about Delisoba Deluxe.
You should. And it's just very...
I think similar to Toga King. I don't think this game had credits either. I don't know if
because when I finished it just went back to the cave logo. And then, I mean, it really just feels like there's almost nothing there, you know? Like they just...
They put as much effort as they had to in a game that was literally given away for free.
Yeah. And they probably got paid good. I think that...
I'm sure.
You know, I feel like that is... I think just like a history of cave video, like it suddenly just feels so much more interesting to me because I had no idea that they had done all this other stuff. Like I knew about Steep Slope Sliders, but that's like really it.
Yeah, the non shoot 'em up catalog of Cave is really interesting, especially seeing how many Touge King games they made. I think there were like 5 5th gen era Touge King games in the series, if I'm remembering it correctly, because there's the 2 on Saturn, and then there was Touge Max / Peak Performance, Touge Max 2, and then Touge Max G. And then on the Xbox, they commissioned Next Tech to do Touge R. Cave's still credited, but I think Next Tech really took the wheel on that one.
That's what is that on PS2 or
Xbox?
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I just made this like impossible to win because look how steep this curve is. It's just like a 90.
Oh yeah.
90-degree angle. Like I love that they
That's
just
perfect.
They give you that
They let you
option
do
though.
that.
Like if you want to do it, that's fine. So can I play it? Like,
If you want to send your Delisoba moped off the abyss into skybox death, be my guest, says Cave.
I don't know what I'm doing here. I just want to try it. I just want to play it. I don't know which one. Oh,
yeah,
I could lay down like toxic waste canisters.
I'm not 100% sure.
You know, this plutonium. You can do.
That's great.
So you can do that.
Do like a roadblock of uranium.
There's no Mario Maker style, like you have to be able to beat your level before saving it requirement.
Yeah,
that's cool. So you can actually just like skip forward a little bit. So that's like, I don't know. It doesn't seem the hardest part with the language barriers, like figuring out how I can play it. I just want to play it. Oh well. Well, we didn't get to your entire list, but I feel like we got a good variety of stuff.
Oh yeah, I didn't think we'd get through all of it, but yeah, we got through a pretty good amount. I would highly recommend, if you guys do another Saturn stream, I would highly recommend Super Tempo.
Oh yeah, we have a person in our Discord. Is a Tempo super fan.
Tempo head.
Yeah, like loves like every single version of Tempo.
Well, I don't know about loves, but
sure.
I think his relationship with Tempo is complex.
I would definitely recommend Last Bronx.
Yeah,
spectacular 3D fighting game.
I feel like I have Last Bronx, like physically.
And Cotton 2, if you haven't played that on stream at all. Cotton 2 is a very good 2D Saturn game.
Yeah.
Those would be my top recommendations for a future stream.
And Cotton 2 got a console release, like got ported, and it's like actually like running a Saturn emulator like underneath it.
Yeah, that's right. City Connection just I guess bought the right to use SSF. It was SSF, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And any City Connection Saturn port, I think, is just effectively using SSF. Hackers got into the code of the game, pulled out whatever SSF emulator they had in that port, and then made it into a Switch Saturn emulator.
Really?
If you have custom firmware on your Switch, you can use what was in the City Connection game as a Saturn emulator to boot whatever games you throw at it, and it works really well.
Does it really?
I understand.
Like I knew,
I haven't tried it, but yeah, people say it's like legit. So
that's probably what they use to like run like the Batsugan and the elevator action returns. Even though those are,
I can almost guarantee it.
That's pretty cool. Like I mean, it's not that cool because they just did it, right? They didn't ask them. So it's not very cool that they did it.
It's selling an emulated game, but it's aren't they all to some extent?
Because I know those Cotton ones. It was like Cotton Boomerang and Cotton 2, like on the same disc. They were the first ones to use it, and they had like real bad lag, I guess, on Switch. But they've improved it over time. But still, like that's like a really crummy way to do it.
Right.
But
someone mentioned Asinuan mentioned Sakura Wars. I don't know how streamable it is because it's an RPG, but I would recommend the English patch of Sakura Wars and also Grandia, just in your free time. Those are all really good.
Like Trekkies Unite. Did Trekkies Unite do the port, like the translation of Lunar?
No, I think that's Conan.
Okay.
Mr. Conan, I'm pretty sure.
Because I know I have
Trekkies
something.
might have helped on it, but
okay.
But I'm pretty sure Mr. Conan did the bulk of the work on Lunar.
Okay.
Someone, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Did Trekkie do Grandia or like I don't?
He did.
Okay.
He did Grandia and Sakura Wars, amongst other folks. He was the main spearhead behind the Grandia translation, and he was one of many team members who did Sakura Wars. Okay. And he and many of the same people are doing Sakura Wars 2 right now.
Nice.
They're getting that done, cranking it out. So.
And there was like the Sakura Wars like puzzle game, but was that Dreamcast? No, that was.
I can't remember.
There was like
someone did it,
like a puzzle game or whatever. There was like maybe a mini game in one of them or something. I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, I can't remember what this was. There, and then I think Sinuan did the Game Boy Sakura Wars translation too. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, good old Sacky Tassy action. Everybody loves that. Here we go. Sakura Wars Columns 2 on Dreamcast.
Okay. Yes.
So
I mean, it's like I said, there's just so many like little bits of information I'd have in my head, and then I forget about what is what, like, or where, like,
I keep forgetting it all too. Yeah, there's so much. There's a lot of info.
But I mean, it's just those things that like it all gets mixed up, or you hear like little bits, and it's, like I said earlier, I had the pleasure of going when I was in Rochester. I was in Rochester for work. I went to the after I finished work, I went to the Strong Museum of Play, if you're familiar with it. And it was
not really. No, I'm not.
Oh, I mean, it is a very, very cool museum. It has like tons of video game stuff, but also like anything connected to like the act of playing, I guess. Like they have like the first Monopoly board there that the creator of Monopoly, like it's like a circle that was designed to go like on his family's kitchen table. Just like all kinds of like old toys, old game show stuff. There's like Jeopardy podiums there, like, and just like tons of like game stuff. And so like they're like the video on the video game side, like their digital archive director is a big fan of our channel. And
nice.
Like a long time ago on Twitter, like back when I used Twitter still, said, if you're ever like in the Rochester area, let me know and I'll give you like a behind the scenes tour. So
just like hit me up. Up.
So I was there for work, and then I reached out to him. He's like, well, why don't you come by like in the morning? Yeah. And I stayed an extra day, and then I showed up there, and like he like showed me around, and like took me back into like their archives, because he has like there's like tons of stuff there that's just like not out for people to look at. It's like a gigantic museum.
Wow.
But they have all this like research material, and if you need to like research something, you just let them know and you can go there.
Oh,
and they'll pull all the stuff for you that you want to like check out. So if you needed to like check out anything, like they have like complete libraries of like every game basically at this point, like of like they have like every Saturn game is just like a thing that has like every Saturn game in it, like US and Japanese. Dude. So if you need to like look at something, and you just like tell them like, hey, can I come there and like look at this stuff? And they will
swing by and take a look at it.
Yeah, and they will like they'll pull it out, and then they'll like set you up, and you can just like do whatever kind of research you need to do. It's like it's free.
That's awesome
to do that.
What's the name again?
It's called the Strong Museum of Play.
Okay,
the Strong National Museum of Play, I think.
Got it. Oh, that's awesome.
So it's in Rochester. Like I don't know how far that is for you, but if you ever like feel like making that trip, it is so worth it. It
seems like it.
I thought that it was going to be cool, but it just like totally blew my mind.
Nice.
Like just how much stuff they had, and like just the kind of stuff that they're doing is so neat. I don't remember where I was going with this, like how it related to anything. I just wanted to mention it because I feel like Andrew Borman, who is like the person who took me around, is like their like on the game side, like their digital archive director. Like I said, oh, we should have you on the stream sometime just to talk about it, and he could just talk about it. There's so much cool stuff and stuff that they've acquired that they can't even like tell people that they have yet because they're still like cataloging it. It's just it's like it's so. I was like, holy cow. He's like, oh, you can't. Yeah. He said you can bring your camera and film this stuff, but I'll like tell you when you can't like film certain things because it's still being cataloged and nobody knows we have it yet. I mean, they have like all these old, like they have like tons of like old arcade machines and like things that I don't know, like what was some of the Sega stuff that they had that I had never seen before? Like
was it Game Girl?
Yeah, well, the Master System Girl, which is like
Master System Girl.
It looked like a handheld Master System that has like the buttons on it and the D-pad on it, and it is a Master System, I think.
But it didn't have a screen.
Yeah.
Weird. I'm just looking at pictures of it now. Yeah, it looks like just a plastic brick with a D-pad on it. Like
they had the Sega flight simulator that I never even heard of. The Sega called Airline Pilots. It's like it's like just like a sit-down cabinet, but it has like the flight wheel, and you can teaches you how to fly apparently.
Nice, right.
It's just was so cool, like the amount of stuff that they have. If you ever have the chance to go, I highly recommend it, and like let them know that you're coming, and they'll let you check out stuff.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
just,
I'm East Coast, so I mean, it seems plausible I could be up in that area at some point. We actually just got back from a trip in New York City.
oh yeah,
Which is not Rochester, but it's
had you ever been there before?
a couple times. Yeah, we've been up there. Never been to Rochester though. And if I definitely want to check out that museum, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Great that this guy's keeping all of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like run by,
Is
they have funding and they're like a real, like legit museum.
right
It's like,
on. Oh, that's great.
But it's cool
That's
that like
great
he
to
knows all
hear
this
that that's a
stuff.
thing. Yeah.
And they have like all these really cool like interactive exhibits because the whole thing is that you go there and it has like a lot of stuff to look at, but also is like very interactive and like like drives home the idea of like playing. There's like a lot of stuff, good stuff for
Right.
like kids. And I mean, the thing that I like shared it on Blue Sky was they had this interactive like stealth game exhibit where it's like set up like a Metal Gear Solid VR mission that you can go through.
I saw your post about that. Yeah, that looked really sick.
Yeah, and there's just like lots of stuff like that. And it's just really cool because so when you go into like the video game area, you get this like wrist that has like an RFID thing in it, and you like can create a character and you scan all these kiosks, and you can like build a character from like going to these different kiosks. Like there's like these vending machines. They have like all these controllers in it, and you can like pick what your favorite one is. And then when you get to the end, you scan it and it shows you like all the items you picked up and everything. It's really, really cool.
Nice.
I highly recommend it. And if anybody in the chat's ever been there, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. But
that sounds like it's worth making a trip up there just to see it. Like that sounds awesome.
I'd love to.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Man, Sandy is relaxing so hard she's like putting my arm to sleep.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I can. Nellie's actually over there asleep. She's been down here.
She feels like she's relaxing so hard that she's like putting down like twice her weight in gravity.
Yeah.
Dead weight dog. Yeah. My dog does that too. It gets to a certain point in the evening, just, full flop.
Yeah. But I think that's going to do it. I was just thinking about how I think the next Saturday or next Sunday, I might be at my in-laws. So I'm not sure if I might be joining from my laptop.
Oh, wow. It feels like it's been so long since we've had just like a typical stream.
Yeah, well,
but that'll be relatively typical as long as you'll be joining.
Yeah, and if it's not, that's fine.
We'll figure it out.
I'll do it from the laptop. Anyways, Nick, it's been like super awesome having you. Sorry we like talked your ear off and.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I had a great time chatting with you guys and showing you the good and the weird of Saturn's library. This was fantastic. I had a good time. Thanks again for inviting me on. This means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you are welcome back anytime that you don't have to work on Monday again.
Heck yeah. Hopefully that happens many times in the near future. So that'd be great.
Thanks, everybody.
Real quick, what are your favorite Saturn games? Just the two of you. Just real quick. If you were to pick one.
I mean, if I'm going to pick anything, I'm going to pick like the Sega Ages, Space Harrier, and Afterburner. But if I'm picking like original, like I said, like X-Men versus Street Fighter is the first game I ever imported. I love X-Men versus Street Fighter.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
But
for me,
Magic Knight Ray-Earth, also very good. Anything working design.
It's probably a super boring choice, but I really like Panzer Dragoon.
It's so good. It's so good.
I like the first more than the second.
See, I like the second one more than the first.
I think most people like the second one more.
Choices,
but something about the first one, I like it more.
They're both different. The art style is just ever so slightly different in both. And I think the gameplay in one is a little more straightforward and easy to get used to.
It's more of an arcade game, I think.
Yeah, and the second one has a lot more variety to it, which comes to a detriment to those who really fell in love with one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they were trying to do a lot more like sort of visual storytelling with.
Two is spectacular. I think it's one of the best games on the console.
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to be a spectacle. I think.
And it's like has the
more so than the first.
Multiple paths.
The first,
I mean, it's just
an arcade game.
It's from that era where that second game just like takes the idea presented in the first and just goes nuts with it.
Oh yeah,
and
they
like
went ham.
make something so much bigger.
Yeah, but I just like the simplicity of the first one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. There's something else that I wanted to mention. I was gonna say like my only like real holy grail of games that I would like to have is at this point is the on the Saturn. It's a Hyper Duel, the Technosoft shooter that
Hyper
you can.
Duels. It's very good.
Yeah, and it's like I see it all the time. This one vendor always has it that I see when we go to conventions, and it's like just gets more expensive, and it's like $700 now. And I'm like, I don't know, I can't do it. I want it so bad, but it's like I can't justify it, you know.
It's getting to unobtainium territory for sure.
It's it was on an unobtainium like $400,
several $100 ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
But what about you? I mean, did you say what your favorite game on the system is?
I mean, it always changes. Top 5 though, if I did do top 5 real quick, Panzer Dragoon Zwei, Power Slave, Asuka 120% Burning Fest limited edition. Probably go with Darius Gaiden's my number 1 favorite on the Saturn by far.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I love Darius Gaiden. That's such a fantastic game. And Virtual Cop, first one.
Oh yeah, okay. Would you say that you liked that before you did the video on it, or did that make you like really fall in love with it?
I loved it before, and I loved it even more after the video.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a longtime favorite.
That's so cool.
Oh yeah. One of the ones I'd play with friends, except our friend Isaac was the one at the CRT, so we could only play Virtual Cop if we took my Sega Saturn to Isaac's house. Yeah.
That's cool though. You know, it's like, you know, you packed it all up to bring over there. Probably played in composite and just loved it.
Oh no, I was an S video man.
Oh.
No.
I mean, that's what I preached back in the day. Well, I mean, not like back in the day, but like, you know, by the time I went to college, I'm like, oh man, y'all got to be doing that S video thing. And I had no idea that like all these systems could also do RGB. Just had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
I see Starlight Witch Gaming is saying the Saturn port of X-Men vs. Street Fighter is the best home port at the time. And it was. I mean, that was the game that really showed, for me, it was really what showed me what the Saturn can do, because I love that game in the arcade. And you just knew it was junk on the PS1. I mean, it's so bad when you go back to it now too. Like Juggernaut has like no animation, like no idle animation in it on the PS1. It's hilarious.
That's bad. Yeah. That's not good.
Anyways, this has been super fun. Thanks again, and thanks to everybody who donated tonight, and thanks for hanging out for the whole time. And I hope everyone has a great week. Nick, I hope you have a great week. And,
thank you. I hope you both have a good week and eventually a good weekend. So thanks again for having me on. This was great.
Yep.
Sorry for being awkward. It's just I work mornings and this feels like 3 a.m. to me right now. So.
All right. Take care, everybody. See you next week.
Good night.
Good night.